All right. And hey, everybody. Well, no one here right now, but well, we're here and we're going on live right with like this. So, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? 'Cause
Alrighty, I am the rookie critic. Do lots of film-related stuff on my channel, and doing a lot of live streams lately called the Rookie Corner, where I bring a guest on, talk about them, and then talk about Star Wars and anything else and whatnot. So that is me.
Hello, guys. My name is Alberto. I have my company, Alas Matt Films and Comics. I'm a filmmaker, independent filmmaker, director, producer, writer, and also now a comic book artist, working on my most recent graphic novel called Road Warrior Drake, and also a frequent YouTuber and Twitter user. And I'm very honored to be a part of the stream. Thank you for inviting me.
Yep.
I am Black Angus. I cover film philosophy in the NFL. I am a Star Wars-based channel initially, but I'm always branching out. Just did a AC/DC album review of a very underrated album, so if you like AC/DC, check it out. And I'm glad to be here with a new friend, Robert Willing, and hopefully some new friends with Elasmat and John.
Sounds good.
I'm glad to be
Well, I'm John Wallace, and writer, lover of people, lover of all things beautiful and holy, and try to be a friend of humanity. Nice to meet y'all.
Yep.
Likewise.
Yep. And my other friend Eric has shown up. Eric, introduce yourself.
Hey guys. Hello there to everyone in the internet and the YouTube land. My name is Eric. I've known Robert for over 10 years now, and basically, I'm a lover of all things media, cartoons, video games, comics, old television, and movies, and play Santa extraordinaire. That's how Bugs Bunny came along, Doc.
So yeah, today for our stream it's like my first stream is going to be some general topics we're going to go over. The first of which, and I'm probably going to get to Dave Stelroy, and all of Matt and I are going to talk and start off with first is if any one of you guys have seen it, the new She-Ra.
Nope.
Anyone?
I'm up to episode. I'm sorry. No, I'm up to episode 3. So before I offer my thoughts, I'll leave the floor open for anybody else.
I don't have Netflix. I haven't seen it.
Nope, doesn't look good, so haven't seen it.
It looks like
fire, guys, a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the biggest crime for the show is it's not as big of a dumpster fire as it is just bland. Actually, I was talking to Robert on Twitter about it. He was sharing his thoughts, and I was sharing my thoughts. We how can I say? We politely disagree on it. So if Robert wants to go first, and then I'll chime in with my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, with me, as I told him on Twitter, I controversially did not think it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I basically found it a little enjoyable up to a point. The first 4 episodes, I had issues, but going in knowing there was going to be radical changes and all that, and given all the stuff we know going into it, it was mostly what I expected and a few surprises here and there, but it wasn't the worst thing. It's not Teen Titans Go level, off the rails betrayal of characterizations. And at the same time, no, it's not the original She-Ra, which I'm a huge fan of. But by episode 5, they had like a whole smorgasbord of things I had issues with, to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm taking a break from it. And yeah, I'm not going to continue the last 8 episodes, the last episodes until I take a breather, because, oh boy, just that one episode alone, so many issues.
They ruined Hordak for you again.
Nope. Hordak was good. I actually did not mind how Hordak was. From what I hear is going to be happening or not happening with him, I'm not actually that surprised that they're just building him up.
Well, here's my take on the show. I'm a fan of the original She-Ra cartoon. I love the Filmation He-Man and She-Ra. Obviously, as a boy of the 80s, I grew up on He-Man. So, to mess up He-Man or the lore of He-Man to me is a big crime. Which is why I'm glad Sony no longer has the rights to make the He-Man film, because there were plans for. I was like, I'm so glad they don't have the rights to film it. But for me, the biggest crime of the show is the betrayal of Adora. If you remember the original series when she was a force captain for the Horde, she was a badass. She was meticulous, crafty. She was strong, but she also wasn't insultingly. It wasn't like an in-your-face feminist type of thing. It was, she had genuine skills, but there were moments when she was, she displayed her softness and she displayed her humanity, and it resonated with the viewer. In this new series, all the girls talk with a decibel level of 58, so you have to like lower your volumes because they don't know how to talk softly. They can't shut up for nothing. They're very annoying. They shriek. Even Bo is a shrieker. Like they can't talk softly. It's like they all have the same level of the volume is just at the same level. You can't decipher personalities based on their talking because they don't know when to have a soft moment or when to have a tender moment. Adora, the girls are very sarcastic. Adora is very sarcastic, and honestly, and this is the thing that these modern shows and these modern films do with the women is they make them very ditzy or bumbly. Like Adora is very bumbly in the series, totally opposite from what she was in the original Filmation series. And don't get me started on the boy shorts on her. Oh my gosh! Like, there was a shot where she becomes She-Ra, and the camera has a shot of her from behind, and it just looks so silly. The boy shorts, like I don't know why they went that route. Like, what's the problem with displaying the femininity of a woman? Like I think about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and they had no problem displaying her femininity. Like, she was strong, she was heroic, but she was also very beautiful to look at. And here, it's like with this incarnation of She-Ra, it's and I'm speaking as a hot-blooded male, so yeah, if you want to just put it in perspective, I am a hot-blooded male. I like my superheroines to be attractive and sexy looking. That's just me, I think they have a problem with allowing a female to look like a female. When I look at this modern incarnation of Glimmer, they made her thick because they wanted to quote unquote show representation, especially the body positivity. And look, I like a thick woman myself, but none of the women in the show have breasts. So I'm like, okay, are they boys or something? I don't know. Like, like it's very distracting to see that. That's part of my problem with the show. It's not it's not the worst thing. In that, I definitely agree with Robert. But that's the problem. It's just not. It's not standing out, other than the fact that it's just very annoying in a lot of spots.
Well, to continue where's my point, because I just want to give my own summary. The funny thing is, a lot of what you're saying, I judge it on two levels: as an adaptation of the show, and as just a current show that fits with where a lot of current shows are lately. Oh, hey, Ro. See, he's in the chat. But yeah, as far as where it is with She-Ra in the original, most of it I have issues with. Don't get me started, especially from what I understand with the sword. It's technological instead of magical.
Yes,
you told me that. Yeah, Rob told me that over the phone, and I'm like, what?
Yep. But some other aspects I didn't mind, like with Queen Alina, her being overprotective of her daughter, since we later on find out Alina is immortal. Her husband formed the rebellion with her, but then died in the earlier salvos. Who knows if that immortality will prevent her from dying? But if it does, that explains why she's protective of Glimmer, etc., etc. And that is fine. The interactions got annoying. I did not find a lot of the voice casting to be the worst, again, until 5. But that's probably because I'm so used to these types of actors in other current shows these days, where it's not rip your hair out or ear scratching. My problem was by episode 5, we're introduced to the Princess Mermista, and she had that drawl. Oh boy, okay, how's it going? Yeah, sure. Yeah, but the whole kingdom is completely falling apart. It's like, okay, why are you going with the Raven take? With Raven, it made sense because she's trying to keep her emotions intact. What's her excuse?
Her excuse is she's not Tara Strong, so there you go.
No,
I'm kidding. Yeah,
I know, but in the case of with and that they brought in Scorpia, who in the original series, there was the voice she had where she kind of talks like this. I'll stop you, muscle man. You could have played her up like a butch lesbian. You could have done that, but instead they have her be the.
See, it's about, 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 If I could chime, sorry to cut you off. I could chime in real quick. You hit the nail on the head. If you paid attention to Clownfish TV or any of the other stories coming out about She-Ra, if you put all the pieces together, it's basically a show to indoctrinate young girls into a few things. One, being lesbian is cool. Men are bad. Men are weaklings, and all sorts of other crazy ideas. Because most of these characters on the show are actually supposed to be in same-sex relationships. That's one of the themes they don't want to build up to on top of other ones.
Actually, from what I've understood so far, there's only two princesses that are in the same sex relationship. They've been, the stuff with Catra and Adora has been playing up. But in that regard, from what I understand, originally in the original series, the two were already supposed to be rivals for both affection in the original plans for the original She-Ra show. Thank God they didn't go that route. And so for them to instead be close friends, can kind of understand that. But of course, there's that whole what else is going on between them. Bo is not that incompetent, really, in the show, not compared to other cartoon boy figures.
Well, I will say that is true in some aspects, because there's a scene where he saves them from falling and he shoots out one of his arrows. But there is something to the fact that for this show, like other current mediums, they're afraid of the strong male figure. You know, like the new Star Wars films, like there isn't a single male figure in the new Star Wars film that you could say is strong or even smart. And it's like it's a threat to show strong males and show them as equal to the strong females.
Which is, in that regard, I've said this before on Twitter, with something like Steven Universe, while he's not a strong figure per se, the character of Greg, Steven's dad, I still say it's light years, but compared to if they had started the show now, because they actually have he's a good father to the point where how he raised Steven is actually what's helping everything out. None of the others could have raised him right. But
you know
Greg,
what I say about Greg? I take a look at this guy and I'm like, he's the rock and roll, because he's got the Volkswagen van and everything. He's the kind of guy I wouldn't mind having a barbecue with.
But,
like hanging out with. I'd say, that's a cool guy. He's, that kind of dad. I can respect that.
Right. But at the same time with something like, if they had done it nowadays with different set of writers, they would have had Greg be a complete doofus. He was only there to make sure that Steven was conceived, and they would have had the Gems somehow miraculously be able to figure out how to raise a kid, even though technically they shouldn't, and just push him aside because he would have been useless. I mean, they've pushed him aside anyway, but that's for different reasons.
Right, exactly. And that I have a problem with that, because you can show strong female characters without denigrating the male figure.
Oh, well, yeah.
Wait. I have a question about Bo. Wasn't he also somewhat incompetent in the old show sometimes?
Well, he was silly in some aspects of it, but
I mean, I'm not saying he was Orko or anything, but I look at TV tropes and I'm like, the girls are strong, but he tries, but he ends up more often than not like Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon, kidnapped, and he needs to be saved or something like that.
Well, Bo definitely wasn't the most masculine figure in the She-Ra cartoon. There was Seahawk, so that's true.
No, Seahawk, you're going to be in for a disappointment. He is.
I heard, yes. Go ahead.
But at the same time, I'll be honest, I didn't watch all of She-Ra. I've told Eric this, but in the past, I watched a lot of the episodes. The thing that I always stuck with was the opening movie. That defined She-Ra for me for the whole series. And thus, I never saw Seahawk, and everything I went by was mostly from that, because that is what I had to rewatch over and over and over, well past when the show was done.
Well, the She-Hulk in the original series, he was actually a very good, strong character.
He was a love interest.
Very well developed character, actually. Aside from She-Ra, he was the second most well developed character in the entire show.
I was just curious, guys. No, excuse me.
But yeah, I
have a bit of a sore throat, so if anybody's wondering.
Yep. But yeah, I just wanted to, like I said, just talk a little bit about She-Ra and all that. But since it's just between two guys talking about it for the most part, let's go on to a different subject.
Yeah, I'll stick to Sailor Moon and Ruby instead. Those shows show good ladies and men and all that other good stuff.
Well, if I could say one last thing about She-Ra, other than the undercover messages that Noelle Stevenson's allegedly trying to force into there, we got to get entertainment back to where there's nothing wrong with being a strong female, because I write about strong females. I've created some powerful, sexy looking females. I mean, it's this mindset these days where I don't know, and I hate to keep saying this. It's all because Hillary didn't win, and if you notice, since 2015, like everything has got to be like strong females that look manly. You got to bash the men, and you know they're trying to build this ideology that women could win this world and all the men can die and we can raise all the children and blah blah blah. It's like what the heck? Calm down.
Calm down.
I'm with her. That's what it is.
No, I mean to be girly and girls be manly.
Sorry.
Yep. But
this is why I'm sticking with video games and anime. At least no, for the most part.
Amen with that.
And guys, yesterday I bought Gods of Immortals, which is the compilation of Wonder Woman comics from the 80s. So I'll stick to that as far as my strong female characters.
Wasn't that by Wolfman or somebody or Perez?
Perez.
Yeah, George Perez. Yes.
Yep.
I always integrate the two because they did Teen Titans, you know.
Yep. Well, on another note, I know I'm a bit behind on this, but anyone want to give their own little shout out to Stan Lee after losing him?
Well, I joined the stream last night. You know,
2 nights ago.
Yeah, 2 nights ago. I shouldn't have went on like I did because I didn't mention my favorite Stan Lee created villain, and of which I have a couple. I'll name 3 of them. First off is Doc Ock. The best thing about Spider-Man is each one of his villains is a mirror to him. Like, you know, what if I had this great power and science knowledge, but I used it irresponsible? And, you know, he loved Doc Ock. Otto loves to talk. He loves to be smug about it. He's, you know, smart, and those tentacles give him a run for his money, especially with wall crawling and stuff. And of course, the Master Planner storyline, always hurting, you know, the loved ones, Peter's loved ones, you know, and of course the Sinister Six. So props to Doc Ock. My other 2 are, let me think for a minute. Oh yeah, Pace Bob P. I know people will call me crazy, but I love how he started off as this confident guy, but then he became a joke. Like, you'd see his mental breakdown in every appearance. And the third one wasn't an X-Men villain. It was. God damn it, I'm blanking. Pardon my language. I know YouTube is very strict about that. Yeah, anybody want to fill in?
Well, here's my thing about Stan Lee, and putting all the criticisms aside about the fact that he took credit for creating all the characters, putting that aside, he showed a genuine love for his craft. He showed genuine love. He was a great writer. He was a great showman. He took comics to a level that transcended the pages. He brought it out to the forefront on TV, on film. Stan Lee is just, I mean, there's nothing you can say about Stan Lee that can actually show and reflect exactly how important he was to entertainment, period. He is one of the greatest entertainers in our lifetime, bar none. And
no, I agree.
I don't think anybody could equal what he did. And I'm not saying he was the best writer in the world, the best artist in the world, but for what he did, it's unequaled. And it's a huge loss, his death. But I think the best way to honor his memory is for artists to take their skills and their talents and transcend their own medium and really put themselves out there and build their own empire like he did.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'll defend Kirby and Ditko and their contributions, but you're absolutely right. Without Stan, there is no Marvel. He practically was the Walt Disney of Marvel.
Yes.
So I love that comparison. And because even if, you said, Herb Iwerks also deserves just as much credit for Mickey Mouse, but Walt is the face. Walt is who we think of. Walt was the fatherly figure. Oh, Donald Duck, people are waiting. Let him wait. It's like that old Stan sense of humor, you know. Like, hey, Iron Man got me in one of his strange experiments. Hey, if I made it out here, let me know if I survived.
Yeah, now I'll say this though. Unlike DC, where you had multiple creators creating these characters in the one universe, how many of them does Stan at the very least co-created or had some influencing hand on? I can't think of any other creator in comics.
Sorry about that. You're absolutely right about that because DC didn't have a figurehead like Stan Lee. Marvel was the only company that had a figurehead like Stan Lee that everybody knows. I mean, look over in Japan right now. You had Akira Toriyama. just do a tribute in Dragon Ball to Stan Lee, and that right there shows you how influential that man is. We got anime and manga creators doing tributes to this man right now.
Oh yeah, no question asked. Hey,
Funny thing about Japan is Stan really loved the Japanese Spider-Man with the giant robot. He approved.
Oh yeah, hey, the fact that that's still canon.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Robert,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not I'm new to comics, like not because of Comicsgate, a little bit before, but I go to the library a lot to find comics, and so I save money. I'll like Infinity Gauntlet, Dark Phoenix. I'll take a picture. I'll go to the library, see if it's there, check it out. So I'm not a big like, oh, Stan Lee really affected my life, but looking back and listening to y'all, I thought of something. So Spider-Man came out when I was 10, all right, and I love Star Wars. I got into Star Wars with Episode 1. I wasn't raised on Star Wars. I saw Darth Maul, and I've loved Darth Maul ever since. Got 30 of them. And but looking back, I remember, because I've seen all 3 prequels in theaters, but when Episode 2 came out, for some reason, even with the cool flashy CGI and stuff in the clones, I didn't want to see it in theaters. My dad made me go see it. What I wanted to see was Spider-Man. And looking back, rewatching it, my wife, she hates Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man for some reason. I'm sitting there to commemorate Stan Lee, and I'm watching this movie, and I'm trying to explain, like, this is why this is so great. Look how good this character is. She's like, oh, he's so stupid. I'm like, yeah, he sucks at life. That's the cost of being Spider-Man. And just feeling that emotion from being a kid 10 years old and still having that interest and passion of a child watching this movie that is a direct creation of Stan Lee. And seeing stuff where he's like, with Captain America, with Batman, whatever, their faces showing, and you see that they're a white guy. But with Spider-Man, even though he's a white guy, he's got the full mask. And so any kid, boy or girl, can imagine that they are Spider-Man or Spider-Woman.
Oh, you mentioned that. I remember Kevin Smith did an interview on his DVD.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
that's right. He could be black. He could be Asian. He could be Indian. He could be whoever you wanted.
Technically, Black Panther the same thing. He was too tied into the race on that regard.
Well, yeah, but that was kind of the point. It was the '60s. He and Jack saw that on the news and said, "We got to make a story out of this."
Yep, Black Panther, or for a brief time, he was known as what was it again?
Cole the Tiger, something or other. I was just on Chris Tolworthy's page. He would know. Just a minute. Just give me 1 second to look.
Just stay on mute, though, of course.
Of course.
I just find it so weird. For a brief moment, they almost chickened out. Then they decided, never mind, and stuck with Black Panther.
Let me ask you guys a question, and I'm gonna want to talk about thoughts on this because I'm curious to see if I saw it differently. But what did you guys think about Marvel's response to Stan Lee's death?
Tell me about it.
Before we begin that, I figured out I just found the original name. It was going to be called Cole Tiger. I know it sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it actually had some meaning, believe it or not.
Hold up on the meaning in a little bit. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. As far as how Marvel reacted, Marvel, the company. I'm sorry. Or even before his death, you already know that they were just using him. The figureheads there were using him. And then you have Tom Brevoort's backhanded, send off he gave her saying, oh, we won't fault him for the fact that better writers came around afterwards. And all
that was like the most insensitive thing to say when the man just died. I mean, come on now.
And it is Brevoort, a guy you would think, okay, when you're on a leash, you're a good editor when you're on a leash. Yeah. But apparently you didn't care about him.
Actually, the exact tweet was he said that he was good for his time in the 60s, but others have surpassed him. And
what?
I'm like, why would you say that on the day that this guy has died?
Don't say that in the man's death. And you know what? That's a slap in the face, too. The writers did go afterwards to Gary Conway, to Frank Miller, to Walt Simonson.
Basically, in other words, he was basically saying, they're not like today's writers.
Ugh.
Let's be honest. That's what he meant. That is what he meant.
That's exactly what he meant. Absolutely.
Because you know why? They're the writers he hired.
Ugh. Well, they're not that good. I'll tell you that right now.
They couldn't even wait a day.
Couldn't even wait a day. It had to be the day the man died. And I'll give it this. I will give so many of the other writers at least, some props that they were not only talking good about him, but when you had some of those people being assholes, you even had John Layman basically saying, "Oh, fuck you."
That's like saying, "Oh, well, Hendrix. There's been better guitarists than Hendrix afterwards." It's like, well, no shit, because they copied him and built off of him. Like he's the godfather.
I always put Hendrix and Eric Clapton on an even playing field, but you're absolutely right.
Well, it's like, can anybody else say that they've worked till they're 95?
Oh, he had a great life. He had a great life.
Stanley did. About him and say that he's bad with stuff, and even if he groped some chicks or anything, he's 95 and worked all the way up until then.
Yeah,
no one else has anything on.
And the thing about that, about the quote unquote sexual harassment stuff, I worked as a CNA for about 5 years, a certified nursing assistant, and I dealt with a lot of elderly people with mental illnesses and what have you. And let me tell you, they can do or say things that they're not in control of, and they can seem very inappropriate, but that's because they're not in their right mind. They're not actively trying to offend you.
You're talking about. I've heard cases about that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. and these nurses were clearly doing it. But was it anyone else but Stanley? They wouldn't have said a thing. They would have done their usual, what they're supposed to do. Yeah.
Most of my friends that are female, oddly, are all CNAs. They deal with worse shit than that. Like grab hair, they get scratched, they get clawed, they get actual pain with it. They clean up their shit. I mean, I think him touching a nurse's hip or some shit, I think they can deal with it if he pinches their ass.
Yeah, I know. And again, it's just because it was Stan. That's
white man Stan.
They can get money out of him.
This whole thing is a circus.
Well, I think of Michael Jackson as far as like, I don't even remember what the actual issue with him was back in the day, because now it's just summed up to he was a child molester.
Something about Macaulay Culkin or Corey Feldman. I don't remember. I'd have to look up the old news reports.
Yeah, but no one talks about it anymore.
Well, yeah, because the man's kaput, and all they do remember his contributions as a singer and a musician and a song and a dancer, of course. We can never forget his dancing.
But when it comes to stuff like that, every time somebody passes away, they find new ways to slander your name or to talk bad about you, try to dig up all the dirt on you. I mean, even people who aren't famous, they try to do that. And as far as it's concerned with the Marvel writers not showing respect, a lot of those people, you got to remember, a lot of those people, one, are jealous. They show it every day, the way they talk to people on Twitter. Two, they probably upset because they'll never be a figurehead in Marvel like Stan Lee was. And, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff. That's what they say, the dumb stuff they say.
Hey, to quote Bobby the Brain Heenan, God rest his soul, the only thing that makes me concerned about these people is that they're allowed to drive and they're allowed to vote.
Yep. Oh, hey, Zariel Diamond. That's another friend of mine. But
is he here in the chat or is he in the chat room?
She.
Oh, is she in the chat room or?
Yep.
Where? Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's like, I mean. I just with Stan and just how he lived. I mean, I had 2 chances to meet him, 2 chances, and both times I completely copped out, mostly because of finances.
I couldn't because I was only going to New York Comic Con for one day, so it was either that or miss out on the interview with J. Michael Straczynski, meeting Jason David Frank because I was a big Power Rangers kid.
And you thought you probably thought you would have had another shot.
Possibly.
But he was immortal.
Possibly. I mean, that's what I thought.
How many people thought that?
I mean,
he's freaking immortal, man.
Yeah. That's what we all thought. We thought he was going to live forever.
How many signatures do you think he signed? Like 10 million? Like that poor guy's hand.
Oh, jeez. I guess how do you think the people who were there during his last convention visit probably felt, especially if they were the one where he looked completely miserable? That probably must be so hollow to be like, we got some of his last autographs, but at what cost with how bad he was looking?
Yeah. Well, it's like he has to fly. He has to fly everywhere at that age. Like, he's probably pissing his pants while he's signing autographs. Like, let him have
but a lot of times it was Stan. At least before his wife passed, you've heard stories where he's like saying, "Don't cough on him, don't do this," and yet he would come. They say, "Don't shake his hand." Yet he'll come by like, "How you doing? How you doing?" He would just start shaking people's hands like he didn't care.
That's what a lot of the old-timey wrestlers do at conventions. Like you see Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan, they're still going, "Whoa," and going, "Well, let me tell you something, brother." So it's like they still want to have the same energy for the fans.
Yep.
Age ain't nothing but a number to them.
Yep. But yeah, though, I mean, the man, at least he's with Joan and Jack and Steve and any of the others. But this has been one of the worst years for comic creators. This has been our 2016 for comics.
Oh yeah, 2016, all the celebrity deaths and shit.
Yeah, but this kid has been comic celebrities. I mean, we lost Norm Brayfogle. We lost
Ditko.
What?
We lost Ditko 5 months
Oh
earlier.
yeah, I was mentioning Ditko. Yeah, we lost oh geez, there's been just so many deaths. I'm just trying to remember some of the others, but it's just this has been really a hard year for fans, hasn't it?
Fans all around, Star Wars fans, Star Trek fans. It has been a good year for fans in general.
Well, if I could say something real quick. Sorry about that. If I could say something real quick. The one time I did see Stan myself, he was with Lou Ferrigno. Actually, at one of the Philadelphia Wizard World, but I didn't have no money to stand in line. And you know, when you walk past them, if they catch you taking pictures without paying for a picture, they kick you out. So all I could do was just sit, smile, stare, and that was it. That's all I could do. Because even if you try to speak to them, you know, you're not allowed to do that because you got to pay to get in line to speak to them.
Right. But
what was that beeping noise?
Got to reset your settings. Robotic settings. Just kidding.
Just checking.
No NPCs in here, right? No, just kidding.
but now as far as with some stuff like with movies, I gotta say with I've been, and since a lot of you guys are Star Wars fans, let's stick on a common topic. I'm assuming I love Star Wars, but I've always been a big fan of both the movies and the expanded universes. How many here are into the expanded universe?
Some of it, yeah. Like some of the Last Jedi books, Dark Nest.
I haven't read them, but I kind of wish I did because I heard good things about the Thrawn series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get into the video games myself, like Knights of the Old Republic, Shadows of the Empire, and all that. And Rob gives me his highest recommendation for anything Thrawn related.
Or Timothy Zahn written.
Yeah. Well, Timothy Zahn is on.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, when it comes to Star Wars, it's the original trilogy. Anything after that, like I don't recognize it.
Gangsta, OG.
Hate to be random from Clark's, but what'd you like better, Jedi or The Empire Strikes Back?
I like both of them actually because you got to see learn that revelation that Darth Vader is Luke's father, and then Return of the Jedi was just
perfect. Alert!
I know. It's
everybody's seen it by now. Everybody has seen it by now.
No, not everybody.
Spoilers 40 years later, then when can you?
Not everybody. I have seen videos of YouTube of kids who have never heard of Star Wars who are seeing for the first time, and the look on their faces once it's revealed is like watching them open a present during Christmas time.
Yes.
You know, arguably Jedi had the best lightsaber fight in the entire series, not because it was skilled, but because it was so emotional. It was so impactful. Yes.
And it was the first one that actually had music playing during it. They made sure there was no music during most of the other fights, except for a few key moments. That was the point that once you had the never, and they started swinging it away, that's when they actually had some really heavy music.
That's a good point. I never knew that.
John, the back and forth between all the battles, I mean, just made it feel more intense. Like you have to win. And so
my favorite
Emperor and Vader. Then it won't. No, go ahead, Angus.
No, my favorite moment of Jedi. It's not my favorite Star Wars movie, but my favorite moment of Jedi. Is when Vader is lurking under the staircase looking for Luke, and he's like, your sister. He sounds sly about it, like, oh, if I can't turn you, I'll make your sister. And he's like, no!
I don't know. The music on Luke's face, he's like, your thoughts have betrayed you.
He seems like poking his buttons.
I know. It's just like, yeah, perhaps she will. Never!
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and it's so funny. I will give this about the prequels. Ian McDermott killed it. You know what I mean? He killed it as the Emperor, as Palpatine. Even when the makeup looked atrocious by the time of Revenge of the Sith. I'm sorry, I did not like the makeup.
Yeah, he's still hilarious.
Well, Ian McDermott is a classically trained actor, actually. So he.
Oh, I love classically trained actors.
But the funny thing is, though, when you think about it, Lucas got lucky when he hired him. If I remember right, he was not the original intent. He was going to get someone older. But when you look at how McDermott was, he was young enough that he could be then age appropriate by the time of the prequels.
He went with Clive Revel and for the Empire Strikes Back in the original, and then he recasted the Emperor with Ian McDiarmid.
I know, because originally they had a multitude of weird special effects for the version we saw in Empire.
Well, the original idea was they were going to have the Emperor look like a chimpanzee or something, like an ape-like character.
I'm glad they didn't go that route, just like I'm glad they didn't go with human Jabba.
Or Robot Luke.
Well, didn't he? He had a different name originally, similar to Flash Gordon.
Actually, to be fair, that was Luke Starkiller, yeah. And actually, I've read the Star Wars, the comic adaptation. It would have been very different, but when you look at it, you see so much stuff, not just from the original trilogy, all combined into one film, but you see stuff from the prequels a little bit here and there.
By the way, 2 things. Number 1, since we mentioned human Java, you're a wonderful human being.
That makes it more ironic when he says it to slug Jabba.
And second, you mentioned classically trained actors. I noticed that a lot, if I can switch sci-fi topics, with the original Star Trek. Leonard Nimoy, William Shatner, all of them, they were classically trained Shakespearean actors or old-timey television and movie actors. So when you see all that, you're like, this seems like a morality tale and ridiculous on paper to NBC. But once you see it on screen, you're like, I love these characters and I want to see them succeed.
I love William Shatner's Kirk. You can't tell me that there isn't anything spirited about his performance as Kirk. I have people say he's hammy, but you know what? He was great. I loved him as Kirk.
Absolutely.
I agree completely.
Like he had a sense of humor about him. He could be suave. He could be, he would ham it up when need be. But otherwise, he was like, "You too." I never realized how large this ship.
That's a good impression.
Yep, I know. I think what makes those different is that by that point, these were still actors who were just trying to act for it. They weren't going in for any specific roles. And I don't think that was still at the point with Hollywood where you could make it big, but your odds of making it humongous were not as huge.
Never tell me the odds.
Yeah, compared to a lot of the actors nowadays who are like, I'm going to go and make it big and have oodles of money and plenty of girls or men or both.
You got to be lucky. You got to know the right managers. You got to know the right directors, actors, and you got to scream to get their attention. Yep. And you got to look sexy as hell.
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not necessarily. They do got a lot of actors and stuff, and a lot of actresses that.
I mean, they wear a lot of makeup, so that's him. Again, me, I'll just say, yeah, she's doable. Well, whatever.
Yep. Now
maybe we need different standards on women.
Right now, okay. Well, still sticking with movies for a second. Anyone's opinion on PG-13 Deadpool?
No.
It could work. It could work. Wait a minute. It could work. It can still work. If the director is good, it can still work. PG-13, it can still work.
John, they're just editing 2 and making it a Christmas story.
Oh no. Yeah, they are.
It's
not a new story. They're just re-editing 2.
And it isn't like the PG version for TV of Saturday Night Fever either, is it?
We don't know.
I just thought I'd ask. I haven't seen either movie either way, by budgetary reasons.
Right, but yeah, that's what they're doing, and who knows? Especially it depends on which studio's still in charge of it at the point. If it's Disney, good lord, good night,
goodbye.
So they're gonna say, shut the fudging front door and kiss my butt.
Now, if it's Fox, I have a weird feeling they're doing this just to try and make sure. Can you please give us the Deadpool 3? We're proving we can make a PG-13 and doable.
Deadpool as written by Robbie from A Christmas Story.
I mean, other than 2 and making it a Christmas movie, if a good director actually go into it, a PG-13 Deadpool can work, because if you watch Deadpool and any of the Marvel cartoons as of late, they did do them justice.
Yeah. Like I said, that sounds more like if you're shooting more of a new stuff. If it's done as a re-edit, that's where it feels like you're going to probably see a lot of the cuts.
Yeah, I think if it's an original story, then yeah, a PG-13 Deadpool could work. But if you're taking an existing R-rated film, you're just going to dilute what made it work in the first place. I think anyway.
They're already doing a PG-13 Deadpool. It's called Detective Pikachu.
I still haven't seen the trailers. All I've seen is everybody's reactions, and I'm like, "What the furry?"
I thought it was a commercial for M&M's when I first saw the trailer. I didn't know it was an actual film.
I know. You see, from me, I'll be honest. I thought it was a fan film at first.
But Ryan trolls people. I thought he did that himself just to fuck with people. Like, oh yeah, look at this new Pikachu. With people.
I know, but the funny thing
Yeah, that's what makes Ryan Reynolds funny though. He is like one of the biggest trolls in Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely.
But come
on.
But here's the deal: if you actually seen or played the DS game of Detective Pikachu, the voice actually isn't that far off.
Oh, really?
They have an actual game of it too.
Oh, that's what it's based on. It's basically adapting the game.
My nephew played it.
Wait, what?
I think my nephew played it, so yes.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Ryan Reynolds wasn't in the game. It was still a Japanese voice, but he still had a bit of a gruff voice despite the cute, adorable little Pikachu.
Was Pikachu with Scooby-Doo or something? I don't understand why they'd have him.
No. Just like in the movie, only the kid can understand him.
Speaking of which, 13.
Why?
No, Eric, hold on a second.
Okay.
Well, spoiler alert to anyone who even cares. He was the kid's father is missing, and the Pikachu was apparently the father's Pikachu who got amnesia, made a connection. As to why he can talk, no full clear explanation, although it's implied by many and theorized that the father's essence or spirit or whatever entered the Pikachu.
Oh God!
It sounds like one of the Pokemon movies waiting to happen.
What is a Pokemon movie?
So it's Jack Frost.
But again, no. It was never made clear. This is more of a case. That's where it's blatant. This is more of a case where it's implied. We don't know, and that's more. Even in the game, they never found the father, so it was never made clear. That's just a fan theory.
Okay, it just seems pointless to make them talk at all when their whole hook was that they only say their one name.
Yeah, but I do love it though. How he's like, "Can you hear him? Pika Pika." It's like, and I just love it. Like, he's adorable. You're adorable. They can't understand me, kid.
I can't see the whole movie being entertaining.
I look at it as a buddy cop.
Dude, you sounded just like the Pikachu and that robot chicken thing. What am I doing? Better say it, dude, or they'll give you the gas.
But I can't believe that's a thing. Actually, this is actually a thing. I had no clue. I literally saw the trailer I think 2 nights ago, and I said, "Wow, this actually they swooped me under the rug with this thing."
Nope, this is based that they are adapting. But a friend of mine and Eric named John had told us that he theorized this one. It would be almost like a fan war if they had to pick which generation or which region to go along with. What characters to go along with? You want them to be kids. If you are, you have to deal with child actors. What gender? Since you can pick a boy or a girl. If you go with teenagers, similar thing. All this. There's so many different other stuff going along with this that's still set in the world, but its own little story fits a lot better and is a lot more contained.
That's ridiculous, though. Why are they argue over petty stuff like that?
It's with how long Pokemon's been around and with a lot of just crazy fandoms. How many other crazy fandoms would argue over petty stuff?
I can think of many. Trust me. I've seen the annals of the internet, and I wish I could unwash my memories forever.
You know what I want? I want a movie about Misty. I want a Misty movie, maybe a Gary movie, like a solo movie.
It's like, why do they need live action? Make them cool anime. They can do well with anime.
Yeah, the other thing is, from what I also understand.
Robert, you're muted, but yeah, you say you missed
I got cut off. From what I understand, if this movie does well, they are going to plan on doing more of a straight adaptation afterwards. This is more just to test the waters and be something that meets in the middle and prove it could be done.
What if this was the first step into a Super Smash Bros. Universe?
Oh,
with Link and Mario, the first movie into a new cinematic universe.
Well, the MCU, in my opinion, is starting to slowly die out once Avengers 4 kicks out. So I think that there's room for a new cinematic universe, and I hope, not to change the subject a bit, but I would hope that Mattel finds the right director for a He-Man live action film.
Yes, I mean, he and I were talking, and we were talking about this once before that if it was to be a trilogy, first movie would be. Here's my idea for it: take some stuff from the recent DC comics. You have it be the first movie deals with Skeletor. He's defeated but goes missing. Second movie, you bring in a bit of a horde entourage, but not the full-on invasion, led by Despera, who would be Adora, She-Ra. And at the end, she's defeated and her brainwash or whatever is reversed. And then by the third film, or by the end of the second film, leading into the third film, Hordak arrives, takes over Castle Grayskull, and it's about trying to stop him and bring things down. Maybe a Skeletor.
Write that down. Write that down. We need that. Write that down. That's going to be the movie. Write that down. Let's send it to Hollywood right now.
No, I have a good bad idea for He-Man. You cast The Rock. You don't CGI out his tattoos, and you give him a really awful blonde wig.
So in other words, Dolph Lundgren, take two.
There you go. Hey, Dolph Lundgren was still a good He-Man considering at the time that they did the film.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That movie was really good. A lot of people crap on it, but that movie was good for its time, though. I still watch it today.
Obviously, so do I.
It's a better Star Wars film than the modern Star Wars films, actually.
But yeah, but here's the funny thing: the directors openly admitted, while it wasn't a jerry-rigged new guy script like John Byrne thought, he took so much parallels from everything Jack Kirby and put it in.
I've only seen clips of it. I haven't seen it all the way, but I've gotten the gist of it. It's Courtney Cox, fried chicken, and a great cool sword fight at the end, and a big long Skeletor speech, like Franklin Jella. As Robert's avatar is right there. They're made Skeletor for that. It's like in the I Am Bison in that live-action Street Fighter movie.
Yeah.
Frank Langella said that was
what's funny? Not to cut you off. What's funny? That was Raul Julia's last role. He played that role so he played that role so freaking perfect. That's like the only person to this day could play a good Bison.
Oh yeah, I know. Why? It's electro-powered magnetism. I know. It also levitates.
Yes.
It's like Orson Welles with Unicron, like his last role.
I know. But the last theatrical. I know. Then there was like a TV movie, and they said this was his last actual film.
So I understand I am voicing a planet. Interesting.
A planet that eats toys doing terrible things to each other.
Oh, good Lord. Did you guys want to know what they revealed about Unicron at the end of the IDW mini? Good Lord.
Do I need to know? Do we need to know?
If you're a Transformers fan and you want to see how much they butchered it,
go for it.
He was created by someone who was attacked by Cybertronians long ago and basically said he's not a god. He was artificially created as a means of revenge, and violence is bad, religion is hokey, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, LJW Unicron.
Guilty or innocent? Innocent.
But that's the quintessence. Oh, not even the quintessence. It was just some old guy.
I'm saying that I'm giving my thumbs down right there. That was my way of giving a thumbs down.
Well, you know what? I honestly, I can't think of any Transformers medium, whether it's the cartoon or the comics. Well, maybe the comics, but I always thought the cartoon origin of Unicron was very disappointing. Really? He was created by Midget Pig.
Wait, what?
Do you remember the episode of season 3 of Transformers called The Primitives?
I haven't.
No, but I'm a bit. It's been so long since I saw the show. So
well, that episode is actually regarded as the best episode of season 3. But that episode reveals the origins of Unicron, and he was created by a very small midget called Primacron, who created him just for the purpose of just controlling the universe. And then Unicron rebelled, and he became his own person.
I think that's what they kind of played with in the comic. And if that's true, then okay, I'm not as pissed off because they were at least taking some incarnation from it.
But the Marvel 80s Transformers comic books had the best origin.
Oh, yeah.
Unicron was a god. Basically.
Yeah, well, yeah. Primus is his brother.
And Primus was Cybertron, by the way.
Yeah, oh, I know.
Yeah.
But you want to know something? Did you ever read at least IDW's whacked out, very Kirby throwback Transformers versus G.I. Joe? In that case, there's no Unicron. Primus has been corrupted by Megatron, who had the matrix of leadership ahead of time. But at the very end, it turns out Earth is a second brother,
dude,
named Atlas.
So that's where Michael Bay got that idea from.
No, this game it just finished after, like around the time that was in production. So I think that was coincidence.
To go out Optimus Prime. Sorry, my bad.
But I highly recommend that 13-issue mini because it is damn good. It's done by artwork by.
Not to cut you off. You want to know what I want to see? Just a little teeny bit. Where's my Voltron and Transformers crossover?
Oh, you mentioned Voltron. I just did Peter Cullen. I got to do this. From days of long ago comes a Voltron, defender of the universe.
You know what I did? I took the Goal Line episodes and I did an edit of the original Voltron and put them together just to preserve the violence and the and some of the storylines, because if they had kept the thing with the Voltron series was they had to edit out a lot of the violence and
I know.
mature stuff.
I'm trying to search down the original Go Lion to try to find it.
Oh, go to Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll.com has it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember the original story? It wasn't supposed to be Goal Line that came over here. It was supposed to be Dartanius that came over here as Voltron. But somebody sent the wrong anime over.
With the cars and everything. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, think about this for a second. Hasbro now owns Power Rangers.
Yes.
Megazord versus Transformers. Anyone?
I was such a Power Rangers kid in the 90s. That was after my face went like this. My favorite four cartoons originally, besides being a Nickelodeon kid, were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Real Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, and Scooby-Doo. After that, I was completely a Power Rangers kid.
Right. Right, but
it took me a while to warm up to Power Rangers because the music was like, it was kind of loud, and
it's Ron Wasserman.
Yeah. I mean, eventually I warmed up to it, but at first I was kind of pushed. I mean, and I'm a Godzilla fan. I love Godzilla.
Godzilla. Yes. Akira Toriyama, not Akira Toriyama. Oh, geez, what was his name?
Which one? The director, the musician,
the musician.
Akira Fukube.
You know what my favorite of his music ever is?
Which one?
Besides the original Godzilla March, obviously, it's the song he did originally for King Kong Escapes with Mecha Kong, but reused it for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2.
Baby's theme song, yes. Oh, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because when I first heard the song, I loved it. It was beautiful, but then I said, it sounds familiar. Where have I heard it before? And then one day I put on King Kong Escapes, and I said, whoa, he reused that song for Baby Godzilla.
No. I'm talking about the original, the opening of the da-da-dun-dun.
I got one. Did you ever hear the 50th anniversary Godzilla soundtrack album?
I think I have.
You know, on that album they have like it's like I want to say not disco, but like a pop version of Godzilla's main theme.
Star Wars.
With Godzilla marching in the background and burning down buildings. That is one of the hottest Godzilla themes out there. It's like a pop version of his main theme song.
What album was this? What album was this?
So the 50th anniversary Godzilla theme collection. It's got all the giant monster Toho themes on there, even War of the Gargantua and Space Amoeba something. That thing where they had a giant squid on it.
Yes, Ghidorah.
It has all the Toho giant monster themes on there, plus every Godzilla theme on there.
Yes.
I know about that one.
I want to start watching those movies. After James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, did a Godzilla-thon, I'm looking at all these giant monsters like Mothra and all these guys in Mystery Science Theater doing Gamera. I'm like, I love this stuff, and the cheesier, the better. I want to watch.
Okay, let me ask this for anyone up here that's a Godzilla fan. Favorite era?
The 60s.
90s.
90s eras for me.
Yeah, I love the 90s. So go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I gotta say all of them. I'm sorry, 'cause I'm a big Godzilla fan too. I liked all of them because they all brought us to the table. Every last one of them.
I fucking hate Mothra. Even as a kid, like I'm the kid that when I watch Jurassic Park, I root for the Velociraptors. I love like the bad guys in movies, and watching old Godzilla, I didn't think about how stupid like Kung Fu was against Jet Jaguar and stuff. But I fucking hate Mothra. Mothra, like you have a 400-foot fire-breathing lizard getting his ass kicked by a moth.
No, not just a moth, but then later the caterpillars.
Think about
God.
Hey, think
that
about
just
this.
pisses me off.
Think about this in Pokemon. A Caterpie could do the exact same thing to bigger Pokemon. So yeah.
But I just say I love the 90s, and it still has one of my favorite human characters, probably the most reoccurring one, Mickey Sakusa, the telepath.
Yes.
Actually, the 90s brought forth the second Mechagodzilla, which is the best Mechagodzilla.
Thank you.
The second Mechagodzilla was the best one because he had more weapons, he had more defense.
He didn't lose control.
Compared to Mechagodzilla 3, Mechagodzilla 3 was okay, but Godzilla whipped his behind. Yeah, Kiryu. Godzilla whipped his behind, and the first Mechagodzilla was meh.
Yeah, I'd say the first Godzilla had the best reveal.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, the first Mechagodzilla had the best theme song. That was it. He had the best theme song, but the second Mechagodzilla was the most powerful one.
Yep, and I just loved how, because they studied Baby Godzilla, they realized he has another brain up his ass.
Well, I do love Gigan, though.
What would you say?
Gigan is that bull. Gigan and Ghidorah are Godzilla's most deadliest foes.
I cannot wait for the new movie. Oh, sorry, I got in the chat, Dave. Oh, I like Space Godzilla. In fact, wow, that was probably my least favorite of the 90s movies. It was still good, although why the flying fuck did they have to make little Godzilla look like Minya? I hate Minya.
You mentioned Gigan being one of Godzilla's deadly villains. He was the first one to make Godzilla bleed, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Gigan was the first one to do that. Gigan and Biollante. Biollante was a badass, too.
Oh.
Actually, Biollante is my favorite 90s Godzilla film. I think it's probably the best one.
Oh, I would definitely say that's right up there. Although my favorite has to be period. Besides Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, then King Ghidorah, and then Death Destroyer.
Yeah.
I got.
What about Orga?
Oh, that was 2000. That's not
the Millennium series.
Yeah, that's the Millennium series.
Okay. I thought we were talking because John said all of them. So.
Oh yeah.
Ogre was okay, but he was slow and stupid, and that whole thing where he was going to swallow him and turn into Godzilla was just.
What did he think was going to happen?
That was just retarded. I'm sorry. The whole thing, you gonna swallow him and turn into the strongest life form on Earth? That made no sense.
I will say this though. I'm one of those going into Final Wars, and the director of the film actually agrees with this. That was Junior from the '90s series. They had to cut out. Yeah. That's why if you look in the opening, you see a little brief bit of that.
Remember how he died on Godzilla vs. Destroyer, and remember how Junior came back to life through the radiation?
Yeah, that was
So you're saying he's saying that's the Godzilla from Final Wars?
Yeah, that's what the director had in mind. He was told cut out any connections, but there are brief little hints at the beginning where you see that little shot of him at the very end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, where they used that little bit, basically saying after he went on attack, they froze him or whatever they did with him, and then they released him, and that's him being basically a Sioux.
I mean, I don't have a big problem with that because one thing that I didn't like about the Millennium series was that each film was their own reboot. So
besides Mechagodzilla,
well, which I wasn't a big fan of, by the way, but
right.
But I didn't like that each film was its own reboot. I like the continuity aspect of it because it keeps you invested in Godzilla as a character. So it's like you put your investment on Godzilla in one film, and then the next film it's different Godzilla. It's like okay, well now I gotta get reinvested.
I will say this though: Giant Monsters All Attack was one of the more interesting ideas.
Which one with the Baragon and Ghidorah?
With and Mothra.
I have the NECA figure of Godzilla. It's my favorite Godzilla toy that I have.
Like I said, the idea that he's all of the angry souls from World War II.
Not to cut you off. Gamera has some pretty deadly monsters that Godzilla even had trouble with. Like remember Giron or Zegra?
Yes.
Oh yeah. And anyone here watch Death Battle? Besides Eric, I know Eric does.
Yeah.
You guys ever heard that web series Death Battle, where they actually tried to determine who would win a fight?
Oh, Death Battle. Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah, Godzilla versus Gamera was a great fight.
It was. They actually moved around like they would in the movies, and it was awesome.
I have to check it out. I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, well, I think they also cement once and for all Superman would kick Goku's ass.
Yep.
Oh wait, I did see that. Actually, no, you're right. I did see that. That was awesome. Yes.
Yeah, that was the first Death Battle I saw, and after that, I've been a fan of that and Screw Attack, and now I'm a fan of Rooster Teeth with Rob and Red versus Blue and Ruby and those guys. Yeah, I love watching Death Battle.
I'm sorry. I mean, Wizard Magazine started that Goku versus Superman crap that started one of the biggest, ugliest internet arguments of all time.
I hate that article.
If it was going to be an all-out fight between them, Superman would win, but he would be hurt. He would be seriously hurt, especially if Goku goes Ultra Instinct.
Well, because
win, but he would be hurt though.
True, but I think though, if it's a case where the fight builds his way up, and Goku doesn't go Ultra Instinct right away. And you got to remember, he forgot that, but if he was still keeping that access, by the time he went Ultra Instinct, he would be exhausted. By the time, so he would still be kind of like when he went. What?
I disagree because that implies that all of Superman's villains are way stronger than Goku.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I'm saying is that because unless he went Ultra Instinct right away, which means he's at 100% Ultra Instinct, he would be more like how he was against Jiren in Super, where he was not full powered Ultra Instinct. Like he was Ultra Instinct, but he wasn't like refreshed and ready to go.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I heard too that they got a lot of facts on that wrong, and that it's more of it gets a good reaction out of people with the.
Yeah, I think every death battle is like that. Trust me.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on Captain Marvel versus Android 18.
I did like the Iron Man versus Lex Luthor though.
That was great. That was funny. I love that.
And today, Dave, that's the point of the death battle. And they also, with one or two exceptions, they removed their no killing mentalities, and it's usually a battle to the death. One of the few exceptions would be Lion-O versus He-Man, even though Lion-O still died because of what happened in the fight.
Yeah, basically, spoiler alert if you don't want to see it.
I already spoiled it.
Yeah, he basically crushes the Eye of Thundera, so so the rest of the Thundercats are also kaput. Well, looks like Curiosity killed this cat.
Eric, tell them the story of when you met the voice. Eric, tell them the story of when you met the guy who voiced Lion-O.
Yeah, basically, my dad and I were at this convention here in Connecticut, and I live in the Northeast. So basically, there were a lot of number of guests there I wanted to meet. Tom DeFalco was there. I think so was Bob Camp, because he worked on Ren and Stimpy. I wanted to meet him. And yeah, basically, I ran into the man who originally voiced Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats. I did my impression in front of him, and he's like, hey, wait a minute.
Tom Kenny, right? Tom Kenny's his name, by the way.
Yo, did y'all, speaking of which, now they want the Thundercats, did y'all see the Master of the Universe versus Thundercats comment?
Yes! I love it.
Wait, time out.
Did you see when Skeletor kicked Lion-O in the balls?
Whoa, I never heard of this.
Oh, dude, it is awesome.
I gotta check it out.
Did somebody say Tom Kenny voiced Lion-O? Because that's not true. Tom Kenny's the voice of SpongeBob and the mayor from Powerpuff Girls, I thought.
No, I believe he voiced Lion. I mean, let me go to IMDb because I believe he voiced Lion-O too.
Just a second. I'm gonna look this up real quick.
It was Larry Kenny.
I'm to my fault. Larry Kenny. Yes.
No relation. Oh, we mentioned Thundercats. We got to ask it. I just got to ask. Thundercats roar. I will say this: no matter how bad She-Ra is, it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as that.
Oh, don't get me started. Thundercats roar is the reason why I started doing my graphic novel now, because I had enough of the soy. I said, you know what? This soyification of our old cartoons, I'm done. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to just pick up a pen and I'm going to start drawing and put my own stamp out there. So I had to thank the soy boy that did Thundercats roar, because he lit a fire in me, and I said, okay, I'm going now back to my roots, and I'm going to draw, and I'm going to fight back the soy with my own contributions, my own manly, action-packed contributions. I could not believe how bad the Thundercats roar thing was. And he had the nerve to call himself a fan of the series, and he said, I hope you like it too. I'm like, dude, whatever you're smoking, I want some of that, because you must think that this actually was good enough to pass through the drawing board. I couldn't believe it.
Hey, guys, I'm going to be right back. You guys just talk among yourselves. Keep everything entertained. I won't be long.
Am I wrong?
You ask what they're smoking. I gotta say this. Well, it's legal in Canada now.
Oh, God. Well, they can take that cartoon in Canada. They can keep it.
No. I meant they legalized marijuana in Canada. That's what I was talking about.
Actually, they moved to legalize. I think they legalized it in New York, I believe.
They did?
I think so, yeah. I believe they did. And I left New York a few months ago because I was born and raised there. Now I live in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I think they either passed the bill to legalize it or they have already legalized it.
Wait, you were born in Pennsylvania?
No, I was born in New York, but I live in Pennsylvania now. Yeah.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Sorry.
There you go. Yes.
I had to say that. I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, one of my favorite sitcoms. Hey, you guys have favorite sitcoms?
I love The Honeymooners.
Yeah, The Honeymooners is great. To the moon.
I love that bang zoom and the way he threatened Alice, and Alice just looked at him and said, yeah, try it.
Hey, excuse me.
Married with Children.
Yes.
I'm just now getting into Married with Children. Al Bundy and Marcy cracked me.
Still laugh when I see that show. It's one of the only few sitcoms that make me laugh out loud.
I know, man.
In his pants.
They want.
Speaking of favorite sitcoms, mine's Brady Bunch. Don't hate me.
Hey, I used to watch the
Brady Bunch and Golden Girls.
Oh, my mom watched the Golden Girls. I think Golden Girls is hilarious. I also watched the Brady Bunch, all the episodes back when they reran on Nickelodeon. I loved them.
I will admit the Golden Girls has grown on me because my wife was a big fan of it, and I remember as a boy watching it because I had no choice because I had network TV and not cable, so I had to watch it because otherwise I wouldn't be able to watch TV. But I will admit that the show has grown on me over the years, thanks in part to my wife watching it. And Estelle Getty is pretty hilarious. They were all actually pretty good, actually. I have to admit.
For me, I've seen a lot of the classic stuff from Nick at Night and stuff, Cosby Show and Fresh Prince and whatnot, Brady Bunch. But more modern, my favorite is The Office. When I was in Afghanistan, we had the first season in our library, and I tried to watch it. I'm like, this is not funny. And then my wife made me watch starting with the second season, and I came around to loving it. And now I've seen it like 4 times in a row. When my son was first born, I used to rock him to that theme song, and now like he'll hear the song and he'll just stop what he's doing and watch the TV during the theme song.
I see a lot of Office gifs on Twitter, so I could tell it was a very popular show. That's
the problem with The Office is if no one's ever watched it and you're like, oh dude, I just watched this funny episode of The Office, and you try to explain it and you're like, well, I guess it doesn't sound funny, and so you're just left like with this awkward pause. It's like, like if you just watched it, you'd get it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's better than I'm making it sound. It's like when you try to it's not as easy to talk about like Seinfeld or Friends.
Oh yeah, Seinfeld's so great.
Yeah, Seinfeld is great. What's the deal with Aquaman? Was he ever on land or was he just restricted to water? No, I think I saw him on land a couple times.
I never watched Seinfeld.
Hey, different strokes for different folks. This is why I try to watch everything I can. If I have the time. But I loved sitcoms as a kid. My favorite, though. Let's see. I like The Honeymooners. I love I Love Lucy. I love All in the Family.
All in the Family.
Dead from the neck up. Meathead.
I'm back.
Hey, we were mentioning I did a West Philadelphia joke, and now we're talking about favorite sitcoms.
Oh, so many sitcoms.
Yeah, do you have one? Somebody mentioned we mentioned the Brady Bunch, The Office, The Honeymooners, and Married with Children.
The only okay, joke response, and because I know this would get me killed. I've got at least some guilty pleasure enjoyment out of Big Bang Theory, but it's not my favorite.
That's okay.
All right.
Yeah, but I would say my favorite. It'd have to be Friends. That's probably the one sitcom I watched on a regular basis.
Oh gosh,
my wife plays that so fucking much every day. She's like, "Oh, I put it on when I'm doing laundry." And I'm like, "Ugh," and then I get stuck watching it, and it's like, it's kind of funny, and I hate laughing at it.
At least he didn't say Dawson's Creek, though. At least he didn't say Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek is a teen drama on the WB along with Buffy and Felicity. That does not count as a sitcom unless you're looking for something unintentionally funny.
Matt TV had one of the best segments I ever saw where they mocked Felicity because it's true. Felicity had the dumbest premise for any show when you think about it.
Really?
Hey. No, Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls was dumb as hell. I'm sorry, Gilmore Girls.
Wow.
But
stupid.
It was back to the prior topic before I left because we had brought up the He-Man Thundercats. I gotta say, if you take this as a grand finale for both shows, it works.
Yeah. No, I definitely have to check it out. Now, which company published it? Was it DC?
DC.
Okay.
Because DC actually has the rights. Whoa. Hold on a second.
Are your dogs going crazy again? I think his dogs are going crazy again. But hey, you mentioned Mad TV. You guys have a favorite sketch show? One of mine is Kids in the Hall. If you guys know that show.
Kids in the Hall. Kids in the Hall. I grew up with that show. I love that show.
I remember Brain Candy. That movie, Brain Candy. Actually, I thought it was pretty funny. Actually,
I also have Monty Python's Flying Circus on DVD. Those guys crack me up. This parrot is no more.
It ceased to be.
Actually, one of my favorite skits was when they're in a office setting, and then they go outside and they go, "Look, we're surrounded by film."
My favorite one of my favorites has to be the dirty fork.
Oh yeah, well at least I didn't say anything about
bastard.
You know, John Cleese cracks me up. So does Eric Idle and all the rest.
See, my favorite would be Whitest Kids You Know. All their skits are great. Like they did 30, what do you call it? Supersize Me with whiskey. 30 days on just whiskey as a diet. They did one where it's like, oh yeah, free speech is great, but you can't say I'm going to kill the president. And he starts telling you like, well, you can't say I'm going to shoot him from this hotel across the street and this and that. And he's like telling you the plan of where to meet to kill the president.
My brother-in-law says his favorites are, obviously he watches SNL, but he also loves In Living Color. Yes. Homie the Clown cracks him up.
Actually, they had one of my favorite episodes was a compilation of all the music videos they did.
Oh yeah,
they did one with Vanilla Ice. I'm white, baby.
Dum 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 dum. I gotta be careful.
I'm white, and I'm capitalizing on a trend that's currently rising. Mix it with Curly and Larry and Mo. Woo 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 woo.
Wait, did he actually sing that?
Yeah, that was Jim Carrey with Vanilla Ice.
Oh,
I forgot Jim Carrey was on that show before The Masked Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura. Somebody stop me.
David, to the point where he appeared for a joke in the last Dirty Harry movie.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, so yeah, in the Deadpool. No, that one.
yeah. That was the title of the movie.
Right, I remember that. From 1988, I think.
Sorry, because I keep on getting distracted. I want to point one other thing. You want to know what they actually did a follow-up to that He-Man Thundercats. That's the Injustice versus Masters of the Universe. That's a sequel.
Oh.
No, I definitely gotta check it out.
Yep, and same artist, different writer. Opening bit is there's a bit of political pot-shotting, but after that, they move on past that and they don't look back. But I'll tell you this, little spoiler, Tila kills Wonder Woman.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah, and Darkseid and all of the Apocalypse are invading Eternia.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes,
when you think about it, if there's anything, any cartoon that would have been perfect, if the live action movie approved anything, Masters of the Universe is practically Kirby already, even before the movie.
Well, okay, there's an Injustice film being made right now. Is that correct?
Injustice show? I don't think so.
No, is it a movie? Or am I thinking of? I'm thinking of what's that film that Ava DuVernay was hired to direct?
Who?
There's a film that DC's doing. I forgot the name of it. I don't know if it's oh man, I know that Ava DuVernay, the director who directed A Wrinkle in Time, they hired her.
No, you're thinking about that was not New Gods. That's the Is she doing New Gods or is she?
Yeah, New Gods. The New Gods. That's what it is.
Wait, she's doing New Gods. I thought she was doing Eternals.
I think it's the New Gods. Yeah. Let me look it up. Hold on. I'm almost.
Yeah. I know. I think she's doing some Kirby creation.
Yeah, I'm turning into such a Kirby dude the past couple of years. I've discovered pages of his old comics, and I'm like, I want to read this. He's got so many great ideas. He was the man of ideas. There's just ideas, and when he and Stan got together, since we mentioned Stan earlier, they made the world's greatest comics.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not. Thanks, and of course, Michael Irons.
You were right.
Yeah, Michael Irons.
Ava DuVernay.
Is it the New Gods that she's directing?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see it. There it is. Yeah, the New Gods. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
That was a diversity hire.
Yep. Now I'll tell you this: if they get a black guy to do Darkseid, no objections because they actually have some black guys in the voice.
Wait a minute. So one thing though, I think wasn't He-Man originally wasn't it like originally inspired by Conan and stuff that Jack Kirby did anyway?
Conan, yes, I don't know about.
I think He-Man was supposed to be Conan, and then they couldn't get the rights to do a toy line of him, so they changed him into He-Man because.
And then they added a little bit of Captain Marvel in.
Right.
Yeah. He was supposed to be a mix between Conan O'Brien and Shazam. And not Conan O'Brien. Not Conan O'Brien. I love the guy, by the way. Very funny. But he's hold on.
Conan the Barbarian,
Yeah, the idea was supposed to be Conan the Barbarian meets Shazam, because originally I think the idea of He-Man was like a teenager or a little kid, and he would transform into this big bombastic superhero whenever he said the power of Grayskull and all that stuff.
But of course, because of Filmation's cheap budget.
Filmation, aka I call them no budget, by the
But I
power of
mean,
stuff.
the Filmation with the budget they had, they did pretty damn good. You gotta admit. That's
A lot of the great writers of today came from the He-Man cartoon.
JMS,
Larry Capillo. Some of them wrote for Batman the Animated Series, actually.
Or Beast Wars.
Bruce Timm worked on the show.
Who?
Bruce Timm.
Yeah, no, Paul, doing character designs, but Paul Dini was a writer on several episodes.
Yeah, Paul Dini, Larry Capillo.
Although, if you applaud for He-Man with JMS, don't applaud for He-Man.
Yeah, I went to New York Comic-Con 2003. We were in a Q&A with JMS, and I was excited to see him because I loved the real Ghostbusters. But as soon as he mentioned he worked on He-Man, they was like, "Don't clap, He-Man! It's a dumb cartoon."
Yo, has there ever been the PowerCon though? The Master Universe?
No, I have not. I've heard about it.
I would like to go to one day.
I've heard of.
Yeah, PowerCon. It would be for like Master of the Universe and Thundercats toys.
Awesome.
They haven't been to the East Coast, have they? Because I've only heard about them like Midwest. I don't think they've ever come to the East Coast yet. But I would love to go to PowerCon one day.
I will, because they got all the exclusive He-Man toys there.
Oh man, you're making me water.
I will also say this: one other thing about the Injustice Match of the Universe. A brilliant idea. I will give Tim Seeley, who's doing the writing this. Skeletor pulls out another sword, and has anyone played the Injustice games?
No, I have not.
Nope.
During the first game, Superman killed Shazam.
Yeah. Sorry, I played both of them. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but
I played both of them.
But yeah. During the first one, Superman kills Shazam, heat visioning himself. Basically frying his head. But what does Skeletor do? Because he's on Earth after the end of the He-Man Thundercats. He forges a new sword that gathered up the powers of Shazam.
Oh wow!
He pulls it out and he says, "A wizard named Shazam," and he's all He-Man like.
I'm not gonna get banned on YouTube from doing all these voices and songs, are we?
I don't think so, dude.
I hope not, because the lithogram is very strict on this shit.
Yeah,
I know we probably, you don't care about being monetized. You work full time, so.
Well, dude, I don't have enough followers yet to be monetized anyway.
Right. Hey, I mentioned Conan O'Brien. Anybody have a favorite stand-up comedian?
Well, there's so many.
George Carlin and.
Yeah, George Carlin is.
No, George Carlin is way ahead of his time. Actually, way ahead of his time.
I would have to say, sorry, I would have to say Bill Maher before he went hypocrite.
Who?
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher before he turned into a hypocrite.
One more time, I get you're a little.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher before he turned into a hypocrite.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got two other guys here.
Gabriel Iglesias was all right.
Okay.
My wife is a big Gabriel Iglesias fan.
There's so many.
I would say I don't watch enough. I do like Patton Oswalt's stand-up, even though I don't like him. That's some funny shit.
It's actually pretty funny. I love his rant, his Star Wars rant, and his daughter. He ranted the very fabric of My Little Pony because of his daughter, and he got it 99% right. That is scary. Yeah. But let's see, my favorites. Okay, quick top five: Robin Williams, George Carlin, Rodney Dangerfield. No respect. Tim Allen and Richard Pryor.
Tim Allen did stand-up?
Yeah, he was a stand-up before he did Home Improvement. A lot of his a lot of Home Improvement plots and jokes came from his stand-up. You ever seen a man eat meat?
Yeah, I do love Home Improvement.
Oh yeah, I like Last Man Standing. I like that.
Hey, Last Man Standing is kind of the spiritual successor of Home Improvement in a lot of ways when you think about it.
Oh yeah, I can definitely tell that.
Yeah. Hey, Wilson. Oh, hi ho, neighbor.
Somebody in the chat mentioned Dennis Leary. Actually, Dennis Leary's stand-up from 1993 was actually one of my favorites. That's where he did that song "Asshole," and he did actually a lot of good segments in that. That was actually one of my favorites, and that's of course before he went mainstream. But I enjoyed him there too. So yeah, that's a good honorable mention there.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Dennis Leary. Let me look something up real quick. Funny trivia about Dennis Leary, Colin Quinn, and Adam Sandler. You want to know where three of them got their start at?
MTV?
Yeah, MTV. They were on the remote control.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, Eric here loves the remote control, and
I love watching. I never saw it as a kid, but when I found it on YouTube, I'm like, and now it's his basement, his rules, the Quizmaster 72, whooping cough playing Ken Ober.
I will say this: one of my favorite episodes that you've showed me, Eric, had to be the one where those guys. They had just these two idiot people.
I know, and they couldn't get any question right, and so he just rejected them and brought in new contestants for round 2.
The point you have to wonder were they plants?
That's a good question. I mean, one of my favorite. Excuse me.
No, you go ahead, Eric.
No. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say I was going to retract Patton Oswalt because I just remembered I fucking love Bo Burnham's stand-up. He just has this angle that is so rich and forthright, and I love his Kanye rant song that he did. It was just so on the nose.
I mentioned Richard Pryor earlier. I should also mention Eddie Murphy. I love Eddie Murphy's stand-up. I just saw, I think it was Raw. It was a Delirious or Raw. No, it was Raw. I was cracking up. But I also love Chris Rock quite a bit. Again, I don't think OJ should have killed her, but I understand.
I know that guy, though, sometimes when he's making something to try and be controversial and when he's actually being sincere.
Well, with Chris Rock?
Yeah.
That guy can start to tell. So, what, going old school, like Run DMC?
Okay, slightly different note because the final issue of their crossover came out, Ghostbusters. Because, they just did the ending of that crossover.
Ghostbusters is one of my favorite franchises.
Anyone got any Ghostbusters memories to talk about?
I watched it as. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was saying I didn't really watch it too much growing up.
I mean, when I first saw Ghostbusters back in 1984, I was 6 years old, and my bedroom TV back in New York City with my black and white TV when you can get HBO on Channel 6. I don't know if you guys have that memory, but back then, if you had a good antenna, you can get HBO for free. So I got to see Ghostbusters, and I was
you are so lucky.
I was blown away by it. Blown away by that film. I was like, wow, like this film was funny, it was scary, it was fun. I loved it. And it's a film that I never get tired of watching.
Yeah, you mentioned getting free HBO if you have the right antenna signal. I consider myself one of the lucky kids because when my parents got cable, I got this was back when premium channels were a thing. I had the Disney Channel, and nobody else in my neighborhood did.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I loved the old school Disney Channel. I loved it.
I know, so I got to watch all the old cartoons plus Kids Incorporated.
Kids Incorporated, Shirley Temple movies, right?
Yeah, now you talk about the old Disney Channel real quick. That was the old Disney Channel back in like the early 90s, late 80s was the time when Disney was at its golden ages.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they'd have the Disney Afternoon with DuckTales, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Chip and Dale, Gummy Bears, Bonkers, Goof Troop, and those shows. I love the Disney Afternoon.
Yes.
I still say, though, one thing I always remember, I only would record it when, because I always got it just the one time a year, never had a premium. I still remember some of the bumpers they had, which would always have and this crazy stuff happened, but it always ended with a gag where you see Mickey Mouse's ears somewhere, be it a record player, frozen food.
Yeah, that was
you can see those on YouTube. Actually, they have those bumpers on YouTube.
Yeah, I found them on YouTube, and I found the Donald Duck in that big claymation land. Like going, hey, get me out of here.
Yes.
That was fun. That was good. That was fun times. We'll stay tuned for Under the Umbrella Tree coming up next after Care Bears. Bears, and then next we got Jump Rattle and Ball, followed by Kids Incorporated and the Mickey Mouse Club.
Danger Bay. Remember Danger Bay?
Danger Bay.
That was the Disney Channel action series. That was their staple action series.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it came on in the mid '80s. It followed Kids Incorporated, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember the old Sunday morning Hanna-Barbera cartoons that would come on? I think it was like Channel 29 every Sunday.
Was that the USA Cartoon Express?
No, it was like the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, like Gotar and Richie Rich and Johnny Quest. They would all come on like Sunday morning.
Yes.
Was that I think that was the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera lineup.
Yes.
Yeah. You remember Fantastic Max?
Yes.
Fantastic Max.
We could just talk about old cartoons here now because, hey, it's Yogi's Gang.
Although, one show I remember, it was a British show, but it was brought over to the States. Super Ted.
Oh, wait. Oh, yes. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, the one with the teddy bear.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, there was two versions. You had these movie versions, and then you had the TV show. The movie version, they were just slightly different. But they remember the villain was Texas Pete, a cowboy.
Not bad for a country that also gave us Banana Man and Count Duckula.
Oh, Count Duckula.
Yeah, Cassaduck. Nanny, help me.
No, I'm gonna give you one better. Remember Danger Mouse?
Yeah.
I do. My mom loved Danger Mouse. She loved
Exactly.
Oh, crabs.
I don't. Speaking about just old cartoons, Secret Squirrel.
Oh yeah, Secret Squirrel, Adamant, Up and Adam.
You know what? I still want to one day. I always would love to see Adamant versus Mighty Mouse.
That would be kind of fun. Here, you are a mere rodent insect to me. Well, I'll show you. You're not so mighty after all.
The Ralph Bakshi Mighty Mouse, yeah.
The Ralph Bakshi show was great. Without that, no John Kay, no. Bruce Timm also worked on that. Yes. Pigeon from Pixar worked on it. A lot of guys. I know. He said, without this, there wouldn't be a Renance to be. There wouldn't
Here
be
I come to save the day.
You know that
I know. I love. Oh, speaking of which, you reminded me of that. You did that song. You reminded me of Andy Kaufman would just stand there and he would lip sync, "Here I come to save the day," and just stand there for the rest of the record.
Since you mentioned it earlier, Eric, anyone here remember 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo?
That's right. Yeah,
Barely,
the one with Flim Flam and the ghost in the chat. Hey, we're big Scooby-Doo fans here as much as we are the Flintstones, so and Looney Tunes.
They're finishing it.
Yeah, they're doing this movie to try to wrap it up, as it turns out, and catch the 13th ghost. Warner Brothers.
Crazy.
I know. Warner Brothers is releasing it. It's nuts.
Anyone?
I'd have to watch it because my memory was very, very, very fuzzy on that one. I liked the original Scooby-Doo series. Like, I never got into the specials or the movies that came after that. But I would say after like the first couple of seasons of Scooby-Doo, I tapered off of it. So my memory of that show was just based on the first two seasons. I think I signed off after Scrappy-Doo. Scrappy-Doo was like,
13th was a Scrappy series, but Flim Flam was the Scrappy of that.
That's probably why I don't remember it as much. Yeah.
What about you guys?
I used to do Scooby-Doo a lot. I used to have the Boomerang channel along with Cartoon Network. So I'd watch like old Scooby-Doo, and then I'd watch like the new shows at the time, the new movies, like the one with like the voodoo shit going on with the zombies in like Louisiana.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I outgrew it, and looking back, I'm just like, it's like Dukes of Hazzard. It's like the same format every time it gets old, and so I outgrew it.
I actually looked at Amazon Prime, and I found they have the entire Dukes of Hazzard with a subscription, and I'm like, I may just watch this, and I may pull my dad in and watch laughing. Again, suck it to me. And they also have the Cosby Show, which I am very surprised at. Everybody dropped the Cosby Show after what happened there.
Yeah, like Cosby Show is a great show, regardless of what Cosby did or didn't.
Yeah, it's hard because Cosby, for all intents and purposes, was a very talented person.
You thought he was America's dad.
I know, right? He had Jello pudding snacks, Fat Albert, like I Spy.
His stand-up.
Oh, his I Spy. That's where he actually was playing a stray character.
I've been listening to his stand-up albums. He's got some. So I put the Jello pudding over that, and my dad was like, "Boom! Who dares wake me up this time?"
Oh, I still say it's one of the funniest gags was the whole like when he's trying to explain to a girl about where babies come from.
Oh yeah, I deliver. That was Raven Simone, very young Raven Simone. I deliver.
Boy, whatever. Boy, have you guys seen how she looks like nowadays?
She looks like 5 miles of bad road. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, but her post Disney Channel life has not been kind to her. I don't think.
Well, who's post Disney Channel has been kind to?
Oh my God, I'm looking at her now. Gross.
I mean, Demi Lovato was admitted not so long ago for overdose. So it's like, I'm like, you know what?
That's another issue to talk about too. I've been hearing all these weird stuff about the Disney Channel, how working there takes a toll on you because you gotta project yourself in this like really, really positive light outside and inside of working for Disney. And
like Miley Cyrus.
I think
exactly.
Well, that one's more her own old man.
I think Billy Ray. I think only the cast from Zack and Cody got out smelling like roses. I haven't heard anything too scandalous from them. Believe it or not.
But between Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, like especially with Nickelodeon, there's like stories about what they do to these girls behind the scenes, and I don't know
Yeah.
how keen you
Nickelodeon.
are, I don't know how keen you are on what's going on with that with a certain guy from the head of the class, but
Dan Schneider, he was the creator of all that. I remember all that.
Right, and he was recently fired from Nickelodeon.
Yeah, because of all I've heard about all that.
Yeah,
Drake and Josh and iCarly and all that shit.
Right.
His foot fetish.
You got to remember though. Back in the day, Nickelodeon could rival Disney Channel any day. Back in the day, Nickelodeon had stuff like David the Gnome, Maya the Bee. They had cartoons in the morning before school.
Favorite Nickelodeon show. Mine was Double Dare. You can't do that on television. Legends and Rugrats. What are your favorites?
Video Arcade.
Nick Arcade.
Nick Arcade was great.
Yeah, Nick Arcade. My fault. Nick Arcade. Yeah, Nick Arcade was funny.
I love seeing the YouTube videos. Now we see some kids that were complete idiots with someone
trying to play the game. You get to choose from Super
Freddy Krueger's not a good guy.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger's not. I know. You get to choose from Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Sonic the Hedgehog, Battletoads, The Addams Family, and King of the Monsters.
Little interesting fact: you guys know that the Sonic 2 version they had on that game was the one that eventually got hacked, leaked, dumped, whatever you want to call it, and put out there. That actually had the prototype for the Hidden Palace Zone.
Yeah. That was on Nick Arcade. I couldn't believe it when I saw Melissa Jones.
You wouldn't know that because they only played the first level or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the story Phil Moore says in the Nickelodeon book that I have. Looking back, I was so embarrassed because it's Robotnik. Originally, I kept calling him Robo-Nick.
Yeah, but does anybody remember the rumor about I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog 3? They took out a zone called Genocide City, but there was copies of Sonic 3 out there that still had Genocide City in it.
I've never heard about that. I never heard about that rumor.
It was Sonic 2 or Sonic 3. It was a stage called Genocide City. And when it came to America, Sega of America said no.
Sonic 2.
Yeah, Sonic 2. But there's allegedly supposed to be copies of Sonic 2 out there that still had Genocide City in it.
It's like how Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, some have the Thriller theme, some don't. It's weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah.
Remember, Sega does what Nintendo don't.
I know. That's because Sonic 2, which kind of like how Sonic 3 ended up being, was going to be a lot bigger than people think.
Oh, yeah, but they were like, guys, how much can we fit in a 16-bit cartridge here with a Yamaha synthesizer sound chip?
Yeah, it took Sonic 3 before we had the Knuckles add-on.
Yeah.
Still, my favorite Sonic game is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Period.
Did we miss anybody on favorite Nickelodeon show?
They had Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, Drake and Josh. They had some.
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron and Danny Phantom were great.
Danny Phantom, I love Danny.
The first and one of the theme songs too to the intro.
That's still one of my most popular videos. Was my little edit of the original Danny Phantom scene done to the original intro? I'm still getting views for that.
For me,
anybody else?
Yeah,
it's Cat Dog and SpongeBob. I still watch SpongeBob. I still die at some of the jokes that like go way over your head when you're a little kid and you see Squidward and you're like, that is me now.
One fine day with a wolf and a pearl, baby was born.
Okay, but before copyright takes us down, funny thing about SpongeBob, I always look at Squidward and SpongeBob like, what happened if Ernie and Bert finally grew up and lived under the sea?
Wow, that's a good one. I like that.
Hey, I love the Muppets. That's the other thing. I love anything Jim Henson related. So when I used to work at Toys R Us, R.I.P., I would entertain the kids in the Sesame Street aisle, and they would love it when I did imitations of like Kermit and Elmo and Cookie Monster and Oscar the Grouch and the Count. They love, and the parents were also smiling because they remembered watching Sesame Street as kids and the Muppets. That's in Fraggle Rock and all those shows. So it was a lot of fun. So that was like my favorite part of working at Toys R Us back then. And now I work at a grocery store, so I'm glad to be employed again.
Hey, Eric, Dave in the chats asked, "Is it time for the opposite sketches?"
That's just the old. You can't do that. You know what? I don't know.
Any of you guys wrestling fans?
Wrestling fans?
Yeah.
Like old school WCW?
Well, it's old school, but it's about an event that happened a couple years ago.
My memory ends after 2001.
Let's not talk about that right now, because I'm still upset about Daniel Bryan being AJ Styles. I'm still upset about that right now.
Hey, whoa. I remember those two in Ring of Honor. Don't badmouth the match between them.
But I'm more just talking about there was a couple years ago.
I'm not bad mouthing it, but I want AJ to win. I'm upset about that. I want AJ to still be the champion.
All right, fair chance. Right,
but I was just going to say, it was a couple years ago, the Spear Squad was out there, and all of a sudden, there was a one point where the
slime came down thanks to DX. I remember that.
Yeah, but they did not say, I don't know. They simply said, look up, and then green slime.
So somebody mentioned the opposite sketches?
Yeah, someone mentioned that. I laugh at that.
Who do you think's in the burger?
I heard that.
That's the thing about Nickelodeon. We'll continue with the other discussion in a minute. But I always found there's a bit of a generation gap to people I talked to back when I was working at Toys R Us. Like, my age does remember, like, Finders Keepers and You Can't and Legends of the Hidden Temple and Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude and Clarissa and all that. But it's like pre all that and post all that. Post all that, they'll talk about Cat Dog. They'll talk about SpongeBob. They'll talk about Cousin Skeeter, Keenan and Kel, Brothers Garcia, and all those shows. And so I always find that interesting to talk about, one generation of Nick to another generation of Nick. I find it interesting. But sorry, what?
Well, yeah, but going on to that, remember?
Sorry,
go ahead. Sorry.
What you're talking about?
Go ahead. Whoever was talking, go ahead.
No. He was telling you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about old school wrestling. Who here mentioned WCW?
That was me.
I watched Monday Night. I was like at the tail end of the Monday Night War, so I was going back and forth between Raw and Nitro back in the day. And then later,
only got one thing to say to that: Sting and Goldberg, my two favorite wrestlers from that era, Sting and Goldberg.
I was lucky to actually catch the beginning of that era, like back in '96 when Hogan had just turned heel and the NWO had just been created. That's when I started watching it, and between that ECW and the WWF, I was like, "Wow, this is actually good soap opera for men." Like I actually got back into wrestling after years of not being able to watch it. And it's you look at the YouTube videos of like those matches, like the Goldberg matches, for example, or even the Sting matches, and you hear the audience pop in those matches, and you compare it to the WWE now. It's like two different worlds. It's
absolutely. I've been subscribing on and off to the WWE Network and watching the old events, and I'm like, listen to the pop once you hear the break glass and Stone Cold and The Rock coming.
Oh, it's insane! It's insane!
I'm like, holy mother of smoke! And I found a YouTube video of ECW in 1999, like Mikey Whipwreck and the Sandman had just left WCW, and they were coming back. They made an announcement, and former ECW champion will return tonight. At first, I think it's Sandman coming back because these were like the smart fans. But but they threw a curveball and that Whipwreck returned. But then during the match between, I think it was Raven and Tommy Dreamer versus the Lance Storm and Just Incredible, the lights go out in the middle of the match. Enter Sandman starts playing, and Sandman comes in. Kane's Storm Incredible, and then Raven and Dreamer either shake hands or pay a respect and leave, and everyone's either chanting "Welcome back," or singing along.
Yes.
And I'm like that. I would have loved to be a part of that if not for the fact the ECW arena had no air conditioning, and I would have been a sweaty.
You know what? I still say it's one of the best fan reactions. Probably one of the last great bit of fan reactions.
Yeah.
Hogan versus The Rock.
At WrestleMania 15. Yeah, I love watching those. I love watching the old Hogan WrestleManias because the pop he gets as soon as he comes out ready to face Andre or Savage or the Ultimate Warrior or Sergeant Slaughter. I'm like, wow, they do not make charismatic people like the Hulkster anymore. He deserves it. He fucking does.
Do you know who had the most insane pop in a particular segment? And to me, this is actually the most tragic because of what happened afterwards. The DDP's WWE debut.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The pop that he got when it was revealed that he was revealed to be the stalker of the Undertaker's wife.
Undertaker's wife, Sarah. Yeah,
right, he got an insane pop for that. Yeah,
I remember that, and I'm like because I was watching WCW. As soon as Paige revealed it was him, I'm like, holy smoke!
Yes,
bada bing, bada boom, bada bang.
Now I will say this. You know, I still say it's one of the most sadly tragic, ironic moments with wrestling that I'm aware of.
What's that?
The Ultimate Warrior's final speech before the very next day he passed.
Oh yeah, it's like that whole Hall of Fame induction speech was like kind of his last hurrah, and I'm so glad for the Hall of Fame burying hatchets with him, with Bruno Sammartino, with all these guys, because you know the WWE pretty much owns the wrestling tape library at this point. So we think that just I think Vince is lined up. You know what? I said Triple Hunter. Yeah, Vince. Let's see how many legends we can make it in, because we got a long history. Hey, we need everybody.
Matter of fact, speaking of that, while we're on that subject, who do you think will get the most? Well, not the biggest part. Who do you think people will cry for the most that they pass away from the modern era?
At the moment, I think either Flair or Hogan.
No, I think he means the modern set of wrestlers.
Oh, the modern.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, Flair is a given. Everybody gonna cry. Everybody's gonna cry when Ric Flair passes away. I'm talking about I'm talking about like Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, and Undertaker. Who do you think will be the saddest one?
I think it'll be The Rock, because number one,
I agree.
Yeah, number one, Dwayne Johnson is one of the nicest dudes and one of the funniest dudes I've ever seen. The Rock, Kevin Kelly, The Rock says, "Take your finger and stick it up your nose. Do it, jabroni."
And I say he's one of those actors that actually made it pretty good in Hollywood compared to, let's say, Hogan.
You know, Dwayne Johnson's story is a very inspiring one, because people forget when he started out in WWF, he came out as the Blue Chipper, and he was
I remember that.
Hated. He was hated by the fans. They couldn't stand him, and then Vince turned around and repackaged him as Rocky Maivia with the Nation of Domination, and then very slowly he started to gain the approval of the fans.
Again, thanks to the network.
You don't think Undertaker would be the saddest one? Something tells me Taker would be the saddest one. Because look how long he's been there.
That's true. Like, once the dead man actually becomes a dead man, I can see because when Paul Bearer passed, all you saw was Taker come out. You saw him on the picture of Paul on the Titantron. He did his bow. You hear the and I'm like, wow. Sometimes all Taker has to do is just come out, tip his hat to Shawn Michaels, and leave. And I'm like, that's wrestling right there. Then again, I popped big when Bret Hart first returned. Well, I guess hell just froze over.
Yeah, that was a good moment, actually. I was actually glad when Bret Hart came back to WWF, even though they didn't use him good afterwards, but just having him back there was good.
Yeah, so was I. That I actually had that moment on. I had to record it because it was the whole TNA fiasco that them doing Monday nights. But when I watched it, I'm like, I'm listening to the pop, thank you, Brett. And then when he calls out Shawn Michaels, I'm like, here we go.
Yes.
Will it be 1997 all over again, or will they bury the hatchet? And as soon as he said, "I'd like to offer you my hand in friendship," and Shawn, this isn't the same Shawn he was 15 years ago. He got his head and hugged.
You have to take a pause for a moment. Hey, Rookie, any topic you want to talk about?
No, nothing I can think of right now. Just kind of listening in.
Sorry, because I realize you've been the odd man.
He has the front row passes. That's what he's got the VIP pass to the whole thing tonight.
Like, actually, I've streamed so much lately, and I've hosted stuff so often that I'm always talking. So, and I was just on 2 other streams before this, so I'm actually kind of just chilling in the back a little bit, resting my voice. So
that's okay. That's what I sometimes do, because between all the talking and doing my impressions and stuff, my voice gets shot afterwards. This is why I'm trying not to do as many wrestlers as possible, because all of them have raspy voices. After doing the 15th time of Macho Man, Randy Savage, or Shawn Michaels, my voice is shot. So I'm like, I need a break.
Yeah, well,
or at least I need a drink of water from doing chips. Let
me ask you a question. Let me ask you guys a question real quick. Do you think they'll ever acknowledge Chris Benoit's wrestling career, not what he did, but his wrestling career? Do you think
that's a good question? Very good question.
I think the network, they don't promote him on the network, but I think the fact that all of his matches are there, I think that's enough. I think that's enough.
I think with Benoit, you have to separate the personal stuff, because you can't deny the impact he had on the sport, and considering what the autopsy revealed, if you want to believe it, he wasn't in his right mind when he committed the act, and it's unfortunate. And you don't want to highlight that, because it's terrible on all fronts. But it doesn't take away what he accomplished in the ring. One of the most genuinely touching moments in wrestling in WrestleMania was when him and Eddie Guerrero hugged after Guerrero won the championship.
I remember watching that WrestleMania live. Me and my friends got together. We used to take split our money, buy a pizza on Sunday nights once a month, and watch WWE pay-per-views. And I remember we said we got to do WrestleMania 20, and we were all in agreement, and we were enjoying it. We were all jaw dropped when Triple H tapped out and Benoit won the title, and then when Eddie came out and all the confetti's there and they're hugging their families, we were like, man.
Like that was an awesome moment.
That
especially because of how they were buried in WCW at the time.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm rewatching WCW. They still got decent pushes, but they were not. But they had their problems with Eric Bischoff, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they were, wanted to take their aggression out on Hogan and Kevin Nash and everybody. But when you have. Like when the business is hot, nobody complains, and you could get away with the egos. When it's starting to go downhill, everybody's like, man, what the fuck am I going to do? Go to Japan, go back to Mexico. Mexico, is anything happening in UK wrestling right now? What's going on?
Now I got to change subject for a second. I got a question for all of you guys. In movies or even TV shows, what has been either be rumored or it actually almost was in negotiations, casting calls that you think we either completely dodged a bullet or you're saying, why didn't they go with that compared to what we got?
Ooh, I got one instantly.
What's up?
Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. Anne Hathaway got the part, of course. Natalie Portman was like the runner-up, and she just did Black Swan, and so I'm like, why would you pick Princess Diaries instead of Black Swan to be Catwoman? Especially with the icon that Michelle Pfeiffer is with her crazy self, which I just rewatched Batman Returns, and I'm like, I don't get the hype. It's okay, but that's my casting.
I'm glad you said it because I wasn't a big Michelle Pfeiffer fan as Catwoman. Not to diminish her performance, but I was still Team Julie Newmar at the time.
Oh, Julie Newmar. I love watching the old 60s Batman. Yeah, now that's out on a Blu-ray, I love it.
All right. What about you, John?
John?
He's muted.
All right. What about you, Rookie?
Somebody that was miscast away.
It was either a casting call that you're glad you dodged the bullet, or you wish that they had gone with, but they had to be either rumored or actually in the talks.
When Tom Cruise was almost Iron Man, I would have hated that. I hate him in a lot of his movies.
Hey, Tom Cruise has done well with the Mission Impossible movies. He's great at those.
He's done well, and he's a good actor, and I respect him and all. But I just don't. I don't want to see him in a main role that's not in Mission Impossible.
I liked him in Collateral.
Yeah.
Oh God, Collateral is so good.
And my mom watched Rayman the other day with him and Dustin Hoffman. Great movie, still.
Seeing him in The Mummy though, I'm glad that wasn't Iron Man.
No, I'll stick to Top Gun. Great soundtrack. I got the Need for Speed. Him and Val Kilmer. There was Iceman. It was fun.
I'll give Tom Cruise his due because he's one of those few actors that has managed to stay relevant after all these years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I gave his props despite his personal stuff.
Oh yeah,
I think he's improved since then.
Oh yeah, he's definitely improved from jumping up and down on Oprah Winfrey.
Xenu made him do it.
Why? What?
Xenu made him do it.
You see, like Tom Cruise would be, I think, a better Hawkeye or someone that can do parkour and like run across buildings and stuff, rather than.
You just made me think of The Office.
Oh wait, sorry about that, gentlemen. I had to check. So I had to check something real quick with one of my bank statements. What was the question, Duff?
Either casting calls that they have to either rumored or at the very least they were in negotiations that you either feel why didn't they go with that or saying God we dodged that.
Well, wasn't it rumored at one point in time that what's his name? Tom Cruise was supposed to be runner up for Captain America. Yeah, he was supposed to be runner up for Captain America or something.
Iron Man.
I thought it was Captain America. He's rumored to be runner up for.
Nope, it was Iron Man.
Oh well, that's just as well. No, Iron Man. I can see him doing that.
Really?
I just don't think he's
crazy.
Do it well.
It would have been. I still say it wouldn't have been as perfect as Robert Downey Jr.'s, but I think he could have. But if it was a self-contained, not building up to anything.
If he was like his decoy, sure, but the actual Iron Man, no.
Don't mention decoys. We'll get Iron Man 3 discussions up in here.
But
no, we should not talk about Iron Man 3. We should not discuss that.
I don't hate that.
I was so upset with that because I wanted to see the Mandarin as a major villain in the MCU, but that movie sucked.
At least the little short redeemed it.
I love Mandarin. I remember watching the '90s Iron Man cartoon, sure what this was, and I'm like, who is this Mandarin? And then I saw the old comics. I'm like, oh. Yeah, a bit of a Fu Manchu stereotype, but he's powerful. He's got 10 rings to roll them off. Roll them, and he can hit the armor pretty hard because of his karate skills. I love this guy.
I know. As a non-comic person, I thought that Iron Man 3 was okay. I mean,
I did see
the Iron Man. It showed the most Tony Stark and the most Iron Man. So
I love that. When I first saw Iron Man in theaters, it was with my dad. He would often take me to movies sometimes if we really wanted to see it. And I'm like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is making this movie. I love it. I love this guy. And I wasn't a big Iron Man watcher as much as I was X-Men and Spider-Man. But now, thanks to all these movies, I like him. I like Thor. I love Cap. Cap again. And the Avengers was just like, boom. I love it.
Well, I'll say this. While it isn't a case of a dodging thing, I wanted to add this since someone brought up Captain America. You want to know who was the original little the actor they would have for promotional pictures and all that stuff for Captain America way back when?
What, in the 90s?
No, even before that.
No, who was it?
Jonathan Frakes, Will Riker.
Oh, from Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't picture that.
No. This is him younger. With before the beard and all that.
Right.
Back then, he was the guy. He would just be in the costume and all that stuff for, like if they had live action, like at events and all that. That would be him. Of course, from what I understand, if you bring it up to him, he'll tell you to F off. But yeah, as far as in my case of bullets, we almost, that could have been or almost dodged. Given what we got, I'd say the guy that they got the guy that was in Mission Impossible 2 that was going to be Wolverine. In the long run, I'm more of a case of I'm glad we didn't get it because Hugh Jackman just nailed the part.
He did.
He screwed that part. Nailed it.
You know what a lot of people talked about back then too that I heard? A lot of people back then when Wolverine was being cast, I heard a lot of people wanted Kurt Russell to play him. Like way back when. Because if you remember Snake Plissken from like Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
I remember.
When he did that raspy Snake Plissken voice, he almost sounded like he could do a good Wolverine.
You know what's funny? You mentioned Escape from New York. When Netflix first came to my attention, this was back when they were DVD only, and I was like, I got to rent all the classic movies now.
Just a second, I'll be right back.
I know, I have an outlet now. And one of the movies I rented was Escape from New York because this often comes up in 80s action movie lists. So I took a watch, and I'm like, this is the guy from all the Disney movies and influenced Solid Snake. And I'm like, but the more I watched it, the more I'm very entertained. It had a very nice, dark and grainy setting. It had Ernest Borgnine and Isaac Hayes, so that got points as the cast. And it had John Carpenter, of course, did the synthesizer score. I thought the theme is one of my favorite movie themes.
John Carpenter was a very good score composer, very underrated.
Yep.
Excuse me.
I'm back.
John Carpenter was a very underrated score composer.
Oh yeah. I remember. I read this story because the new Halloween movie came out. I looked back on some of the stories of the original, way back in '78, and somebody told when he did a pre-screen for somebody, the critic went back and told Carpenter, it's kind of boring. It's not that scary. As soon as Carpenter added his music, he's like, then the critic came back and said, this is the scariest movie I've ever seen. You nailed it. So the music does make a big difference. Music does make a big difference sometimes in the movie.
Absolutely.
We mentioned Star Wars earlier when, two lightsaber battles without music, and then John Williams comes up with one. God bless John Williams. So, music or no music can make all the difference. And it just sticks over your head for days.
Hey, has anyone heard about how well you've been doing? Because I last heard he went to the hospital or something.
I heard he's back.
He's good. He's back. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Please, let's not lose John right now.
At least not before episode 9. You say what you will about it. Everyone can at least agree the music's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, you guys have a favorite movie score or soundtrack you guys really like? I know I keep asking for lists here, but You know, I'm curious.
Um,
I just met you guys.
That's all good. There's so many good ones, especially by John Williams. I mean, he takes up
yeah.
usually takes up most of the list.
Yeah, when I get older, as the older I get, the more I become a big music buff because I love looking and researching, classical, jazz, rock and roll, movie scores. So I'm always interested in finding everybody else's taste in music.
Well, okay. Well, for the fact that I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. For the fact that the movies are terrible or not good depending on your point of view, I will admit that Steve Jablonski's Transformers scores are some of the best music I've ever heard.
They're pretty good.
It got progressively better with each film up until, of course, The Last Night, which I think was underwhelming. But there are some beautiful pieces that he's scored with each of those films.
I gotta say, I can't wait for Bumblebee.
Cool. Anybody else?
As far as movie scores, John Williams, of course. Then there's this other guy, I forget his last name, but his first name is not Emmanuel, it's
Ennio Morricone.
Yes,
yeah,
him. He did Jason the Argonauts. He did a lot of those old Sinbad movies and stuff. Like his scores are beautiful.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of my favorite scores too.
He's the one that did The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right?
Yes. One of my favorite scores. Love that score.
He also did that. He also did that Jack Nicholson Wolf movie.
I
forgot. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I love the score from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Metallica is one of my favorite bands. The fact that every concert starts with Ecstasy of Gold before they hit Master of Puppets or something, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any favorite soundtracks at all? Top Gun, Ghostbusters, Breakfast Club, anything like that? Or are we just going to stick strictly to scores?
See, for me, one that people probably don't know a lot. There's a movie that is super underrated. It's like a cool suspense thriller. Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams. It's a Tom Ford movie. It's called Nocturnal Animals, and the score.
Wait, what's it called? Sorry, what's it called?
It's called Nocturnal Animals. Definitely check it out. It's
Never
a recent
heard of
film.
it. Yeah,
it's a recent film. It's highly acclaimed. Tom Ford. He's only done a couple movies, but when he makes one, it's critically acclaimed. The score is by Abel. I'm trying to read this. Korzeniowski. His scores are amazing. They're pure classical, and I listen to it all the time when I have to read for school or something.
I'm gonna check that out because I'm always on the hunt for new music, so I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, if you need reading music that has emotion but won't distract you, his music is perfect. That album from Nocturnal Animals, the soundtrack is just beautiful. And I would say, besides Star Wars, another soundtrack I love is Sweeney Todd from Johnny Depp.
Yeah, we can also talk about musicals, favorite.
Musicals.
I was not a fan of musicals ever since Mamma Mia, man.
What? You're not a musical guy?
No, when I was in vacation in New York with my family, we were doing some fun stuff for a couple of days, and then one day we were taking kind of a rest day, and my dad was like, "Oh, let's go see a movie." And this was when Hancock was playing around that time, and I was like, "Oh, so we're gonna go see Hancock, right?" No, Mamma Mia's playing.
Oh my God!
I love
it. They're just crying. Oh, my mom and having sex with this guy. ... I'm like, oh fuck, this was torture. It was torture. So ever since then, I hate musicals.
yeah, but talk about favorite soundtracks. Don't judge me now. The Last Unicorn. My all-time favorite soundtrack, The Last Unicorn, because I love America.
That was an animated movie, right? I'm seeing it on YouTube pop up recently.
That was Rankin Bass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
It was done by the same people who did the animated Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
By Ralph Bakshi?
No. The other ones.
The other ones?
Yeah, Rankin Bass, right? Rankin Bass.
Yeah, Rankin Bass.
Yeah, they did The Hobbit and they did Return to King.
Right.
They
did The Last Dragon. The Last Dragon,
yeah.
Right.
But
which is my favorite, by the way.
I gotta say, if I had to pick just the top of musicals just for a second, some of my favorites are Avenue Q, Heathers, Into the Woods, Phantom of the Opera, Guilty Pleasure.
Okay, well let's go back to film scores.
Yeah, right. But I just want to get the other way. I love
musical, hands down, Wizard of Oz.
Well,
We're up
original.
to see. I know we're up to see the Wizard. Yada yada yada.
The only musical that I liked was Little Shop of Horrors. The
oh,
86
that was another
movie.
favorite. That's another
Does
favorite.
this look inanimate to you, punk?
Let me do it. Does this look inanimate to you, punk? If I could talk, and if I could move, who's to say I can't do anything I want?
That's
Feed me,
hilarious.
Seymour. Feed me now.
Feed me, Seymour.
That's another great. That's another great comedic talent of cast. Rick Moranis, Bill Murray, Steve Martin, all
Yes.
those guys.
And I would say though, the next best with comedic casting, Spaceballs.
Yes. Love Space
We
Balls.
can talk. Let's talk about Mel Brooks movies as well, because Halloween passed. I love Young Frankenstein. Rob and I love Spaceballs. My mom loves Blazing Saddles. Very, very funny movies.
Hey, did you know that guy's a nit?
What?
I know.
That is funny.
Why is that? Oh, black sheriff. He's black.
He's a nit.
Let's hit him off at the pass. Hit him off at the pass. I hate that cliche. Robin Hood, Man in Tights. Man, white man can't jump.
Hey, come on, haven't you guys ever seen Blazing Saddles?
How many
Yeah.
assholes we got in the ship anyhow?
Oh,
Yo.
no. I
do
know
it.
it's surrounded by assholes. Fools.
Not so fast, Lone Star. The helmet. So last we meet for the first time, for the last time.
Okay, let's see if you guys can do the scene. Here we go. What am I looking at? You look at now, sir.
yeah.
Look at that now.
We'll go back to then.
What?
We can't.
Yeah, we can't.
Why?
We passed.
We passed it.
I know. I
When?
forget. I always jump around with it.
Robert, don't let me find the film clip for
Right.
reference. When will now be then? Soon.
How soon?
Yeah.
dude.
I know. Whoa!
I gotta say, no, we
nerd-
passed this part. In fact, never show it again.
The best part about that Doug Walker, the nostalgia creator, point out, how did a wimp like this somehow get a seat of power?
And the anime series ended up revealing that.
Angus hates Spaceballs.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
So,
gotta love
I-
you gotta love that mention Darth Vader with the bow tie and the shorts though. Come on.
No,
Oh,
I hate
yeah.
it. I'll explain. Okay, so I have this theory, and it transfers for both film and for the NFL. So like things like Mel Brooks movies or Chevy Chase or Christmas Story, Ghostbusters, and going into like early premiere games on TV and football in like the 70s and 80s. I feel like a lot of fandoms are built off of how would I say it? Like a lot of nostalgia films that are highly acclaimed today, like Ghostbusters or Mel Brooks something. They didn't have competition, and they were the only thing pushing the boundaries. And so I get like if you genuinely think they're funny, but I think they really succeeded off of not having competition and for being edgy in certain instances. And so those are the things that kept getting recycled in the house for like time periods like Halloween or Christmas with some of these movies. Same with the NFL. With like, I met a guy in the Army. He grew up in the 70s. He loved the Steelers, but he's from Alabama. And it's like, well, only people that were on were the Cowboys and the Steelers on TV because they're the ones that sold tickets. And so I think they're part of that. You know, like with Star Wars. Star Wars worked for me, and I didn't grow up with Star Wars because the story's good. And I think that works to some degree with things like Spaceballs for people, but the humor is not there for me. I literally watch Spaceballs hopeful and willing and excited to be like, oh, I'm finally going to watch this. I smirked at the joke with the very long ship, and then the whole time,
We wait for no one.
and then the whole time after that, I was sitting there. My wife caught me. And she's like, Gary, I'm like, what? And my mouth was just wide open for like an hour and a half because I was just like, this is not funny. The one thing I guess I could laugh at thinking back on was the whole comb the sand or whatever, and then they're like combing it, and then then the black guys, it's like I used to have a fro before I went bald, so it's like picking your hair, black people.
Yeah,
but
believe it or not, you know Rob Paulson, the voice actor, did some scratch work for that.
That was him as a voice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before Animaniacs, before Pinky and the Brain and those guys, before the Box Ghost.
Yeah, but I will also say this: when it comes to Mel Brooks, I would say if you had to pick at least one movie, it would have to be the one that he didn't even fully write. That's Young Frankenstein. That was Gene Wilder's baby.
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
I do like Young Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw as a one Halloween, I remember watching all the old Universal horror flicks: Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, the Fake Mummy, The Wolfman. So once I saw the Frankenstein movies and Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, I saw it. I decided to watch Young Frankenstein, and because I'm like, this is a parody, I will get all the references, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and I did. And at first, I was like, what's Willy Wonka doing with a weird haircut and a mustache? But it grew on me, and to see him and Marty Feldman play off each other, I was laughing throughout the whole thing. I loved it.
I would say that the funniest thing about Young Frankenstein is it could fit as an official movie if you tag it at the end.
That's how good it was shot. That's how well it was put together. How well the set design was, and the pacing. It could have easily worked as a very comedic sequel to all the old Frankenstein movies.
Anyone here agree?
Speaking of which, actually, going back to the older question about casting dodges, the fact that Bela Lugosi refused the part of Frankenstein was probably pure cinematic mastery, because Boris Karloff was iconic in that role, and I don't think
we saw Lugosi as the monster later on, and
yeah, I mean,
well, that was his fault, because apparently when he shot Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, he had shot scenes of dialogue, and they had to cut it out. Believe it or not.
Yep.
And one of the things that they removed was dialogue explaining why he was blind.
Oh,
wasn't it like an improper transfer or something?
I don't remember what it was, but for whatever reason they cut it off. So Frankenstein in that film is mute, but that was the original intent of the film.
I would say so. I do at least like how they actually transitioned into him being Frankenstein at least. I mean, I doubt it was intentional, but I liked it how basically it had to be. They put his character, his brain in the body, and he became
Igor. Yes, because he played Igor. Yes.
Igor. Yes, he was out.
It's mixing up for the Hunchback in the first movie.
Yeah. Like, the weird thing is watching Son of Frankenstein and then Young Frankenstein. A lot of people often talk about Bride in the original, but when you see Son, you're like, oh, there is a cop with a prosthetic limb that he has to keep saluting and putting back down. And the dartboard scene.
Oh yeah, you are a Frankenstein.
You sounded like Jameson when his false teeth kept coming out in Spider-Man 2. But the best casting of Jameson ever.
Oh yeah, that was. I can't think of anything. Sorry, anything better.
I'll tell you who he is. He's a thief, a criminal.
He stole my suit.
Anybody else agree?
Anyone else?
Did everybody go muted all of a sudden? It's just me.
You know what else? As soon as you brought up J. Jonah Jameson, I was like, you know what? That to me, I think the biggest crime of the MCU was not somehow retconning the first Raimi Spider-Man films into the MCU, because for the reason of J. Jonah Jameson's portrayal, like I don't think they can ever nail that character in any of the medium. I just find it criminal that they couldn't retcon it.
You know what the dumbest thing I ever remember them doing in the MTV series, which I actually didn't mind the MTV Spider-Man.
And Neil Patrick Harris was Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he did a good Spider-Man if you ask me. But anyone here seen it?
I saw a couple of episodes. I wasn't crazy about it, but I don't think I gave it a fair shot either, though. So
is that the weird animation one?
Yeah, but the fight is they had an edict, no old people. But they got around Jameson by having him still look a little younger and giving him a younger voice. But it basically wasn't Jameson at all. But besides J.K. Simmons, you know I still think it's the most perfect Jameson of all time?
Here it comes.
Ed Asner in the 90s animated series.
Yeah. I mean, that was the character you played on his old
that
TV.
was Jameson.
I know. He gets a $5,000 bonus. Color black and white.
You guys seen the anime series, right?
I have it on Blu-ray. It's one of the series that I enjoyed over the years.
Wait, it finally got released?
Yeah, I have the whole set.
I've been trying to keep an eye on if it's ever going to get on DVD in the United States, and I'm like, finally, it's about time.
Yeah, I bought it out at WinterCon last year, and I watched some of the episodes, and I recently had seen the crossover episodes with the X-Men.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. I used to love the X-Men cartoon.
Oh yeah, X-Men's great.
There's a meme going around saying that the '90s Marvel cartoons were the first MCU.
Yep.
That is true. I saw a YouTube video with the title up. That was the first big Marvel kind of crossover series before Bruce Timm and Paul Dini started doing it with Justice League and the Batman Superman Adventures and stuff.
Funny thing, the guy who played Iron Man was in
just let you guys know I'm still here. I'm just doing stuff with money right now, but I'm still here.
No problem. Oh yeah, he was in Airplane, right?
Yeah.
I picked the wrong weekend to stop sniffing glue.
But,
Surely, you must be joking. I never joke, and don't call me
Shirley.
I love Leslie Nielsen, the Naked Gun, the huge Leslie Nielsen fan.
Anyone here seen Creep Show?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that part where he's actually scary, like his old movie. Yeah, he was scary like his old movie roles when he was playing the dramatic lead in the sci-fi movies he did.
But speaking of something that I wish would one day get finished, but I don't think it ever will. Anyone here ever heard of the old Flash cartoon series, Waterman?
No. Nope.
Well, believe it or not, one of the last things Leslie Nielsen worked on would have been a movie they were working on. They're still working on it, trying to finish it for Leslie's memory, but he legitimately did, recorded a lot of dialogue for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Our friend Alex introduced me to the precursor to Naked Gun Police Squad, and I was I saw 3 episodes, and I couldn't stop laughing for the life of me. Cigarette? Why, yes, it is.
Nothing to see here. Absolutely nothing here to see here.
I know Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker, after Mel Brooks, were like the kings of parody throughout the 80s. Hot Shots Part 2.
Top Secret.
What?
Top Secret.
Oh yeah, Top Secret. Yeah,
I have to say, I have to agree with Nostalgia Critic. What made parodies go downhill ever since was parodies beforehand. They were trying to wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but you still had some of the seriousness. Nowadays, it's just let's just throw in whatever insult or little reference we can.
This is why I prefer cartoons and the Muppets to do parodies. They do it right, right still.
Yes,
for the most part. Whenever the Muppet. I look back on the Muppet movies today, the first three, the Muppet movie, The Great Muppet Caper, The Muppets Take Manhattan. All of them were genre throwbacks to the old movies, but and yeah, they broke the fourth wall quite a bit. But they were like, hey, just go along with it. But Kermit was like, just go along with it, folks. What makes you think there's going to be a next time? Well, if there isn't, it's going to be a real short movie.
Speaking of Top Secret was my favorite movie growing up, and that made me fall in love with Val Kilmer.
Sexual chocolate.
Exactly.
Chocolate mousse.
We were friends.
What are you drinking? Gasoline.
Great. We were mentioning wrestling earlier. Now you say sexual chocolate. I'm thinking of Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown as the tag team. I think you better recognize it's a China. I want a date, baby.
Yeah. You want to know who's had to be one of my favorite comedy sequels growing up?
What's up?
All right, but it would be Gremlins 2.
That was a very underrated. You know what it was? I find the genius in that film because I think people expected a straight up horror sequel to the first film, and I think Spielberg and Dante realized, you know what, we got to be a step ahead and really like wink at the audience before they do. And you watch that film. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
I was going to say was Landis kind of actually got strong armed. It was like, we're going to make it with or without you, and so he said like, well, if they're going to make it with or without me, I might as well be involved then.
Hey, did Blake Angus leave?
Yeah. He said he had to get. He's going to hit the hay.
All right. I'll see you later. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, he was trying to just leave quietly.
He mentioned Chevy Chase earlier. You know what I'm watching next December? Next month. I want him right here with a big ribbon.
Oh.
And I'm going to look him straight in the eye, and I'm going to tell him what a lousy Hartlet taste of monkey crap he is. Hallelujah. Holy burp. Where's the Tylenol?
But so was Gremlins. I think that movie is completely, like so many people just ignore it or whatnot. I'm like, it's great because they're parodying everything about the first movie.
They figured out a way to how can I put it? They figured out a way to outdo the first film and said we're gonna beat the audience to the punch and give them something different. And I give them a lot of credit for that because you look at that film now and it's like it's from top to bottom, it's entertaining, it's funny. It's like you can't really label it. There's no genre you can put on that film.
I just find it so funny that Lionel Luther is more of a goofball in the movie.
Funny thing about you say that about Gremlins too. First of all, anything that begins with Looney Tunes and makes fun and shows that Leonard Maltin can make fun of himself is fine by me. And two, you mentioned it's hard to pin down a genre. I mentioned that earlier with the Muppet movie, or also Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, because Tim Burton just wanted to cram as many genres as possible. It's a road movie. It's a comedy. Hey, here's a little bit of horror. Here's a Godzilla ripoff. Here's Santa Claus. Here's Twisted Sister, and all in the middle of it. And all in the middle of it is this man, big boy trying to get his going to Hollywood, trying to get his bicycle back.
If I recall right, though, Pee Wee was basically the case of Tim Burton being like, if this is going to be my only movie, I'm going to shove everything I can into this.
And, both of them had bigger careers. I mean, Tim Burton, of course, did Beetlejuice and Batman and Edward Scissorhands and all those movies. And, of course, Pee Wee got his own show. And my own show on CBS.
With Lawrence Fishburne.
I know. And Lawrence Fishburne as the Black Cowboy, Cowboy Kirk.
What they say about Big Feet.
And Blackula as the cartoon king.
That's right. As the king cartoons of the first season, he was Blackula. Let the cartoon begin.
Hey, Zombie.
Hey, Jabby. Mecca Lucka High, Mecca Hiney Ho.
And yes, the guy who played him admitted he was making him flamboyant.
I know. He was supposed to, I basically played him like a closeted gay man. Of course, we couldn't say anything because it was Saturday morning in front of the kid. And so I just basically made genie jokes. Oh, sometimes I crack myself up.
But,
we had some weird shows in our childhood. Then again, Robert loves, remember Street Sharks and Extreme Dinosaurs.
Street Sharks.
Yeah.
Eddie, okay, I said Eddie favorite obscure cartoon or live action show from the 80s or 90s.
Well, I mean, now that you speak up Street Sharks and Battletoads and all that, wasn't that all? Didn't that all come out because of Ninja Turtles?
Yes, I remember Battletoads for sure. That I remember.
Yep,
I remember. There was a Bucky O'Hare cartoon. There was all these shows.
Bucky O'Hare.
Biker Mike from Mars was like one of the corniest ones.
Believe it or not, Rob Paulson doing its most unlike voice you'd ever think. That was him. You're like, wait, that's Rob?
Yeah, that's Rob doing it. You think it's like it's not Yakko, it's not Pinky, it's just or him doing Goofy. It's being this tough biker dude.
And he openly admits that's his wife's favorite voice. Gee, I wonder why.
Any other obscure cartoons? Guys, somebody mentioned David the Gnome and Maya the Bee earlier. I remember Nickelodeon had to get a lot of British.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. David the Gnome, Maya the Bee. They had another cartoon too that would come on Nickelodeon in the morning time. Cities of Gold.
Oh yeah,
with the golden condor.
I know. I remember those shows. I know. Do. Goodbye and Schlitz bites. I remember those shows. It gets again. Whenever now people give me weird looks like, huh? And I'm like, no, that was definitely a thing. It's like all the Ninja Turtles ripoffs you mentioned earlier. I remember. What was it? The Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Moo
Mesa. Cowboys of Mesa was good though. That was actually a good cartoon.
I know, as it says in the Code of the West.
Oh, you know one show I'll never forget existing? It was short-lived, but it was a show that when I told Eric about it, he was like, what? Hammer Man.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Hammer cartoon, yeah.
Hammer Man.
I'm not surprised considering Hulk Hogan, Roseanne, and John Candy got a cartoon.
Yeah, Roseanne got a show.
A Little Rosie.
A Little Shop of Horror cartoon.
There was a Punky Brewster cartoon, Alf, Tails. Remember to join me on CB.
Alf worked because it was a prequel.
I know. Join me right after Alvin and the Chipmunks, but before Saves by the Bell, next on NBC.
Funniest thing, you guys do know that the Alf comics actually had an official tie-in to the High Evolutionary Saga.
You're kidding.
Nope. Turns out the High Evolutionary was a speaker on Melmac during when Alf was in college.
Wow.
Yep.
I did not know that. I did not know that. That is mind blowing right there.
Yep, because Marvel had the license and everything, and they had it. It was in the annuals. They put it in there. It was a little gag, but it still is a tie-in.
Cool.
But as far as with oh geez, I just had what other with the you want to know one live action sitcom, because we were talking about sitcoms earlier. I still can't believe it lasted so long.
Small Wonder.
Small Wonder.
Yeah, wow. I watched a couple episodes of that show. I'm laughing, but it's still kind of weird, cheesy and weird.
It's a nostalgia show. I like it because it brings back memories, but
I didn't grow up with it. I was more the TGIF kid or the ABC kid in general, because I watched Roseanne, Home Improvement, Coach, Family Matters, Full House, Perfect Strangers, Dinosaurs, Step by Step, Boy Meets World.
Dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs.
Honey, I'm home. Not the mama. Yeah,
You know who voiced the baby, right?
Kevin Clash, the voice of Clifford and Elmo. What's up? What's up?
That's Splinter. That's Splinter.
Oh yeah,
Splinter,
Splinter. Yeah, I love that first Ninja Turtles movie. I want to
Great
rewatch it.
film. Great film. I love
It
that.
was.
That
I loved
film.
it.
That film mixes action with drama. People underestimate the drama in the film, but the whole father-son dichotomy was beautifully done in that film.
Oh, that campfire scene.
I met Kevin Eastman just a while ago.
Oh yeah, he did. He met Kevin Eastman a while ago.
But yeah, I gotta say this might be a little controversial. I liked in Next Mutations Venus.
Venus de Milo. Yeah.
I felt that she had so much potential, and from what I heard, Saban screwed it over. They basically they agreed with the Ninja Turtles guys on certain rules, and then once they got control, disregarded it all. That's why it only lasted one season. They were pissed.
Jesus.
I have to respectfully depart on that one. I was not a big Venus de Milo person.
I'm just saying out of the potential, not what they did with her.
Either way, it's kind of like, you know what? It's the Poochie syndrome. Like don't break what, don't tamper with what's already working. Like
yeah. Well, when I talked to Eastman, I told him where my standpoint is. If they had not dropped the whole their brothers thing, and she was their sister, well, one, it would lead to a funny thing of, oh God, we were thinking that about our sister. Brain bleach. But I would have looked at the dichotomy like this. She would have been the middle child. You would have Raph as the oldest, Mikey as the youngest, Leo the second oldest, Donnie the second youngest, and she would kind of be like the middle dichotomy.
Has it ever been confirmed that series was in canon with the films? I heard
only cosmetically, I think.
Yeah, only cosmetically, because one, how is Shredder still alive?
Yeah. But speaking of which, Casey Jones gets some of the best lines in that first movie. Hey, you some kind of punker? I hate punkers. Guys, lead the way, Toots. Tuts, sweet cakes. Princess, you want to throw me a clue here? I'm drowning.
A line, it was a lie.
I know. Hey, guys, hey, Raph, you're awake. Are you okay? What's a guy gotta do to get some food around here?
Boy, but I think that what helped that first movie was it was based so much on the comics.
On eBay, I was like, you know what? I think I'll finally read those old comics. And I found this big, huge trade paperback of the first several issues. And I'm like, oh, I remember this. I remember this. It was a fun read to look through.
Okay. Hey, Rookie saying he's going to drop out. See ya, man.
See you, Rookie. Nice meeting you.
You too, man.
Yep. But I would definitely also say with Turtles, but first of all, that's a case where I love how there's so many different incarnations.
Turtles 1, that was a real good legendary movie, and Turtles 2, even though they toned down the violence, Turtles 2 was good.
Oh yeah,
Turtles 2.
You know the guy who played Pino appeared in that Uncharted fan film with Nathan Fillion.
I'm still kind of salty because I first seen Turtles 2. I swore that's supposed to be Slash, but they said, "Oh no, that's Toka." I swore we was gonna get Slash in a live action movie. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Nevertheless, everybody in the playground still thought they were Bebop and Rocksteady. So what with Vanilla Ice in the middle?
Yeah, but you know what? The summation in that film was beautiful. It makes you want to like the CGI today, and I look at how the Henson Company brought Toka Razor to life, and I'm like, that's impressive.
Oh yeah, I mentioned I'm a big Muppet guy earlier. I love looking behind the scenes stuff of how Jim Henson, made all the costumes and all the Muppets. That's on Fraggle Rock. We have some of the biggest, most complicated puppetry ever used. For instance, we have these little guys called doozers. We also have these giant creatures called gourds. And here's how they're made. I love reading stuff like that and how the turtle suits are made. And they were like, "Yeah, it's heavy. We're going to pass out," but that they were able to get some good action choreography on that kind of all of it. I like it. Again, some good jokes. Oh, a fellow chucker, eh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just love with the yo-yo like around the world.
That was funny. I do miss those movies. They're better than all the stuff they got playing now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I gotta say,
matter of fact, I think those. I would say, I'm sorry, nobody hate me. I think the original Turtles movies are better than the Michael Bay ones.
I concur. I totally agree.
Although I will say about the Turtles movie, they surprised me. I thought they were going to be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Especially Megan Fox's April. At least in the first movie, it looks like she actually gave a damn a little.
The problem with that movie was that they tied everything to April O'Neil. So it was like everything had to be connected to her. The Turtles being born and everything. And it's like It removes the chance aspect of it. It just everything has to be centralized.
It's still, but believe it or not, it's not the most radical departure they've done. If you've seen the IDW comic,
it's not. I mean, it's not the worst incarnation of the Turtles, but like with the budget they had, I think they should have looked at the formula of what made the first film work and expanded on it. And I feel like they didn't do that.
I would say the favorite gag has to be, "Hey, April, you okay?" Her ass is sticking out. Yeah, you just keep doing that. Crashes.
That was Will Arnett, correct?
Yep.
Every time I see him, all I'm thinking about is Arrested Development. I'm sorry. Hey,
Boy, look at what he's been doing lately. You've already had him as Batman and Deathstroke.
I know. Not bad for the guy who was doing the weird magic acts to the Final Countdown. Again, I'm a Arrested Development fan. I love that show. Anybody heard of that or seen it?
I've heard of it, but I'm bad with TV series.
You mentioned Poochie earlier. Take Simpsons fans, favorite Simpsons moments. Anybody?
Yes.
Any favorite moment?
But one of my favorites is, I don't know which season it was, but not Krusty. Who's Krusty's brother? The
brother? I remember his father, Rabbi Krafowski, but his brother?
Well, you're talking about either brother or you're talking about his other second sidekick.
His sidekick.
Sideshow Mel and Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob, yeah. So Sideshow Bob kidnaps Bart Simpson, right? And I guess they end up rescuing whatever, and he's flying a plane, and he goes towards him, and he goes, "Die, Bart, die!" And in the middle of him saying that, he crashes into a house and just falls to the ground, buddy.
So one of the best gags in Simpsons, the rake gag.
Oh yeah.
All because they had to stretch it out.
Right. One of my favorite episodes is Bart Sells a Soul. I used to watch that on TV all the time. My friend had a videotape of it. So we would be like, "That Bart sells a soul, and that's just swell. And now he's going, no soul, huh? Don't worry, I'm still behind you."
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to Simpsons, they had a lot of funny episodes. But a favorite one, there's so many. I can't pick. It's too many episodes.
No, it's perfectly fine with that.
We're talking about like 25 seasons now.
They're up to 30, dude. They're up to 30 at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, last year marked their 30th anniversary when they were just skits on the Tracy Ullman show, and I'm thinking, how many times we're still singing the monorail song? We're still saying "Bye Bye Butterfinger." We're still saying, we're still repeating lines from Apu, from Ned Flanders, from Krusty, from all the guest star appearances. "I'm Tom Hanks. Please stop following me."
If you see me in public, please let me be.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you guys think about Toy Story 4? From just what the teaser's showing in the posters.
If anybody didn't watch the Pikachu trailer.
Because people were already theorizing from the poster, is Woody going to die? And I say, if they were wanting to die, they would have done it in 3. After that, Dodge, I don't think they're going to do it.
I still haven't seen the trailer yet, but...
No, it's the poster that getting people saying that.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen anything yet. But,
yeah, it's just him standing there, saying something. And they're introducing a bunch of new toys, so people are wondering, what would they be a passing of the torch?
I mean, they have to have a new order because Andy's already in college right now. So,
well, they already have a new kid after 3.
Yeah,
with Bonnie. But I gotta say though, with that one, I remember the rumors were supposedly they're going to try and find Bo Peep.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be a find Bo Peep kind of thing. Rob, you muted yourself. There you are.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Again, my headset keeps acting up. But yeah, I mean, that's what I just gotta say. Is that I find that so interesting that they, when they do stuff like that, making a Force movie, and you have to wonder what are they going to bring, and it go either way.
Yeah. Hey, can I get back to wrestling for just a second?
Sure.
Second, because I mentioned going on and off with the network earlier. First of all, it's great to have the it in HD and all that, and see some quality footage. But the fact that some of the bumpers are so kept in for Raw, SmackDown, and all the old shows and pay-per-view views, because it's not 1993 unless you see Bret Hart and Lex Luger promoting Ico Pro, Randy Savage doing Snap It to a Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. And you see all the LGN acclaim games for Nintendo and Sega. Yeah, that was announced by Lord Alfred Hayes.
Wow. I remember the Saturday Night main events with old Alfred Hayes.
Alfred. I love Alfred because he was kind of like the tweener. Tweener like still root for the good guys, but he gives praise to the bad guys. And said, not enough for Gorilla Monsoon to say, "Will you stop?" but enough to say, oh, I see. Him and Bob. I'm watching primetime wrestling. He and Bobby Heenan were hilarious.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, Gorilla and him, or Gorilla and Jesse the Body Ventura was going, let me tell you something. This guy is scary. Reminds me of when I fought the Predator back in '87.
Hey, different question to another question I want to ask is, what is a type of your favorite medium, like a kid cartoon, comic book, whatever, that you are so glad that they have not adapted, because not just nowadays, but even in the past, it would have been butchered?
That's a good question.
Something they haven't done yet.
Well, not that they haven't done it yet, because they did, but I'm glad Sony didn't make Masters of the Universe.
Well, yeah, because you told me before they were going to build up Skeletor as Thanos, and the Thanos character, and I'm like, no, that's Hordak.
Yeah, so that kind of answers that question, but as far as something that hasn't been done yet,
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
I would have, because what hasn't been butchered?
It's not. I mentioned wrestling. It's not like they're going to remake Suburban Commando with Hogan anytime soon. I was frozen today.
Or it could be even a reboot.
Right.
Like something you don't want rebooted.
I mean, I love Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies.
Well, that's never going to get rebooted. We already know that for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank God for Robert Zemeckis, by the way.
And Bob Gale. Yeah. To be fair, if you look at the stuff, especially the Back to the Future comics, Bob Gale is probably the one who was more behind the story than Zemeckis by comparison.
Yeah, probably.
Right, but Zemeckis is the one that said that as long as he's alive, there'll never be a reboot or remake of Back to the Future. Like he put his foot down and said that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can be thankful with that was Zemeckis, and with the political culture we have right now, Blazing Saddles will never get remade. That'll pop. Everybody will be. All the protesters will be right outside, and the theater ushers will say, "Get out, or we're calling the cops."
That is so tragic. Like a film like Blazing Saddles.
I know.
Can never be shown.
I know. Mel Brooks would be. No, I think Fathom Events still shows it from time to time. But they would be like, first of all, Mel Brooks is like, first of all, I can't stand the culture doing that. And secondly, Richard Pryor wrote half of that movie with me. So every time you hear the N-word, that's Richard, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you try telling them that, they'd be like, no.
Hey, idiots, I'm Jewish.
I
know what? Say what you will about with Tara Strong, and I don't want to talk about any recent events with her. I still laugh at how she is Jewish herself, and yet she would have no qualms playing an anti-Semitic character.
On Drawn Together, yeah. Drawn Together.
Although it makes any of her recent actions even more cringy.
Hey, what? Calm down. Hey, it's not as cringy as when Butch Hartman mentioned Mary Kay Bergman's suicides.
Oh, yeah, and he kind of said so in a way. What was he thinking?
Guys, calm down. If you do it one more time, I'm giving up cartoons. If you do it one more time, please. Don't ruin my childhood. And to anybody who said you raped my childhood, you didn't. You had no childhood.
I hate when people say that, don't you guys?
That's what DVDs are for.
What?
Yeah, that's what DVDs are for.
I know. I know. Michael Bay actually tells in the commentary, I'm getting death letters by fans saying, what are flames doing on Optimus's truck?
They look like ribs. I like that idea.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter what.
No, I didn't say I did not like how Optimus was a bit more cold and dirty, hairy-like as the movies went on.
True.
But Bay, just to get back to with like the original part of it with the discussions with She-Ra and all that. Like I said before, I mostly started with, that's what I watched, The Secret of the Sword. I still say, whenever I hear people say, oh, it was for girls, or the kids show, and I just keep pointing out, look at what they got away with back then.
I love She-Ra.
Oh, I know, but you actually had deaths mentioned. You actually had like a point where they actually had some very good, blatant, but still very well written political stuff, like, when she's out of the fright zone and it's like comes up to a house, you see a ship in the air, and she's like, what's going on? The Lord said that the taxes were too high, and a trooper overheard him. Now they're going to destroy his home.
The biggest thing about that show, especially with the first 5 episodes, is the fact that it all started out with a kidnapping.
Yeah. Baby being kidnapped.
Think about how traumatic that is.
Oh, yeah.
I
still love
stories. And I'm surprised Filmation got away with that. Usually they were like, okay, they had a child psychologist and everything on their staff, so they were.
Wait, you guys thought that was Hanna-Barbera.
No. Hanna-Barbera wasn't as kidified. Filmation, they had a mandate. It's got to be. We always got to do kid-friendly stuff. I mean, that being said, they did make some good shows. Their Tarzan show, the Brave Star, and all those shows. They still make some decent cartoons, and of course, He-Man will outlive all of us, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm very surprised at that. I think going into they always tell me this story whenever we talk about all people who work on all cartoons. Once they went to syndication instead of going to ABC or CBS Saturday mornings, they were like, "You guys realize what we can get away with now? We can go to do themes that we normally wouldn't say in a kids show, and get away with it. And we don't have to do it comedically like Looney Tunes either. We could be somewhat more dramatic like the old flesh."
And I hate when they use that thing talking about girls' cartoon and boys' cartoon because I grew up watching Sailor Moon, and Sailor Moon is one of my all-time favorite animes.
Hey, John, can I just say this for you about with Sailor Moon? I first watched Sailor Moon in the early days, back when it was aired on, I think it was before Cartoon Network. It was on
syndication.
Yeah. And I remember watching.
I could take you back earlier than that. I was watching Sailor Moon back when it was on channel 17, or when it used to come on in the morning time.
I know, but I have a story with it. I was watching it. I had no idea anything about it, but I was getting so into the show, just loving it from the original beginning all the way up through R. Then you get to the episode where She's Got the Power playing. Rini had just found out who they really were. They just were about fight off some of the at that point the main general. I just forgot his name now. And then it was on a Friday. I wait throughout the weekend, get ready on Monday to watch it, and it's the first episode.
Robert still didn't have any concept at the time, like I was slowly doing with cartoons. They rerun the 65 episode run Monday through Friday all over again.
And I was in tears as a kid. I was like,
that was a serialized show, much like Robotech. It wasn't like DuckTales or Darkwing Duck, where you can tune in and you're perfectly fine watching the next episode. No. That show had continuity.
I know, and so you end it. Which I'll say this about the She-Ra show: that one does have continuity from one episode to the next, which I expected it to have.
It's Netflix.
You got to remember, a lot of the problems with Sailor Moon was the dubbing. I did not hate the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing with the Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus, they're they're cousins. Come on now, ain't nobody stupid.
Funny thing though, do you know that, for example, giving Jupiter the name Lita actually has a connection with a bit more of a genius bonus if you hear about it?
It does It does go a bit more with the lightning theme, I think.
Yeah,
I think so. Or it sounds like lightning just enough. But I went around trying to find the original Japanese, and I'm like, this show holds up. Hey, listen, today's generation, you want to watch a good show for girls that, shows girls in good power and different personalities all getting along and showing, yes, it's okay to talk about romance and it's okay to be feminine. That kind of like how Jupiter is can kick all the sorts of butt, but is still wants to be a cook and a good wife. Just put on Sailor Moon or Sailor Moon Crystal. Just go ahead and do that, or buy the manga, the manga and the manga, and just have them read it. That is a brilliant. That is a good show.
Not only that though, but I will always remember how. Say what you will about when they obviously we're not going to have Zoidite be a guy. The actress they got though was still to the point where even those who were detractors of the dub said, okay. They obviously they weren't surprised they made it be a girl, but still they're like, they got a good actress, and I think because having the noble woman laugh helped.
Reminds me of Jessie from Pokemon with that when you put it that way.
It's also been one of my other favorite animes that I still say is one of the best. It was one of the earliest good dubs. Ranma 1/2.
Yeah, you showed me Ranma.
Either of you guys seen it? No.
Anybody else a fan? No.
I never watched Sailor Moon, so.
To answer your question, yes, I've seen Ranma 1/2. That's one of my favorite animes back in the day.
I think Kelly Sheridan. Sorry, I was going to say Kelly Sheridan as Ukyo. She's my favorite of the girls.
Yeah, I watched Ranma a couple of years ago. I don't know how I found it, but when I did, and I could not stop laughing. I could not stop laughing. I love it. I was enjoying that show every time I watched it. I loved it.
You were saying, John. You were saying, John.
John?
We kind of went over
Yeah,
it.
I'm here. No, I was just saying that. Yeah, when I first got into anime, Ram and Half was one of the first ones I got into. So of course, yeah, that was like because that's like one of the first ones came over here to America. When as far as that was concerned.
Well, yeah, as far as without boulderizing it or whatever.
I think I think my anime exposure definitely came with Toonami and Adult Swim because I would watch Dragon Ball, Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I would watch Full Metal Alchemist and Inuyasha. And I would watch Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, of course. Those on Kids WB.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! It's tough. I know. I challenge you to a children's card game.
Oh, that was
I love the Abridged series.
No. But that was talking about with the dub actor Dan Green.
Dan Green.
Seriously,
Right.
I gotta say, I just do like how anime dubs have, for the most part, still gotten better compared to what they used to be.
Hey, people love My Hero Academia. Again, a lot of other dubs right now.
Yep.
They love Dragon Ball Super stuff as well.
Well, that's Dragon Ball Super, of course.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the fact that they've had so much experience now doing the DBZ characters, you're like, wow.
Yep.
It's amazing because back in the day in Adult Swim, we always held Cowboy Bebop. That was the standard.
Yep.
And now look at us now, and look at Vic Mignogna. We see him at conventions and talking Star Trek and everything. It's a lot of fun. And J. Michael Tatum, you got to meet.
Yep.
Man, I'm sorry, Cowboy Bebop. When that anime ended, I was in tears.
I don't blame you.
I saw that last episode. That is one of the only few animes that got to me. When I saw that last episode, I was like, no, it's not going to end like this. No, did he just die? I was just sitting there, my mouth open like, did he just die? Did he just freaking die? Then they had that sad ass song Blue at the end, and Blue is like one of the saddest songs in any anime.
And I still remember how some people reacted when they heard about the movie. They're like, "Wait, where's the movie?" Oh, it's set between the episodes before the finale. Okay.
And then not just that, Wolf Rain. The last episode of Wolf Rain, I was like, "Oh, matter of fact, when they start killing off characters in Wolf Rain, I said, "Oh my God, here we go, not again." Because I saw Wolf Rain after I saw Cowboy Bebop. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Then the last 5 episodes, everybody started dying one by one. I'm like, oh, here we no, man. Like,
not again.
I need to get back into animes. I'm missing out on a lot. Evangelion, Gundam, My Hero, Cowboy Bebop. All these shows sound amazing.
Yep.
I'm behind on the anime stuff. I think after the 90s, after Akira, after Overfiend, after even after Wicked City, I sort of dipped out of it because for me it kind of went into weird areas, and then I was more into the Godzilla stuff later on. So I'm so behind on the anime. Although my stepson is a big anime person. He's a big fan of Hellsing and all those shows.
Yeah, Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate.
So what I saw from Hellsing, I liked, but I have to say modern day anime just doesn't appeal to me like the old stuff does.
Fair enough.
I want to get into a lot of the old stuff. I still want to watch My Hero, so I'm up to date because I see that all over Twitter. And,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you. I'm sorry, but did you know that they have an anime Starship Troopers?
Oh, are you talking about that little fan film?
No, it was an anime from the 80s. It was actually an original video animation. I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes.
You don't say.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's on YouTube. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll look for it right now, and I'll post a link on the chat. Hold on one second.
All right. Because all I've ever seen something like that was that TIE fight and that TIE fighter little animated film.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know what? If you guys type in Starship Troopers anime, you'll find it.
Wait, Starship Troopers?
Anime.
Oh, you're saying Starship Troopers. I thought you said Stormtroopers.
No, Starship Troopers.
Oh, I think I might have heard of that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you type in Starship Troopers anime, you'll see the 6 episodes are there.
All right.
Yeah, I remember Roberts talks about OVAs. He always talks about Tenchi Muyo.
Oh, I love Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah, and Armitage the Third. You introduced me to
that.
Tenchi Muyo is another legendary one because Ryoko was my boo back then.
Yep. How did you react when the dub? When Funimation did it, they brought everyone back but Ryoko's voice.
I thought they did bring her old voice actress back.
Nope. They replaced her with Mona Marshall and said you could so tell when you see it.
Well, I didn't notice the difference. I was watching it, right? And I was waiting for the episodes for her to show up. And I'm sitting there listening to the voice.
I'm talking about when Funimation took over and did the 3rd OVA.
Oh, I thought you talking about the new Tenchi Muyo series they got out.
No. Well, I'm talking about the one that happened, not the current. Because I don't think that's been even dubbed yet. I'm talking about the one that
Oh,
has.
actually, it has. It has. The new one, it has.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they finally brought her back. I'm talking about when they had the one that resolved most of the stuff was Lady Tokumi and all that.
Oh, no, I didn't see that one. But I did see the new one they got out now. They did bring the old Ryoko voice actress back. She sounds older, but it still sounds like Ryoko, though.
Oh, that's good to hear. Because I heard there was so much backlash when they didn't get her back. And they just didn't ask her or something. They just replaced her. But I like how they got everyone back. But here's the funny thing. I know for a fact, from what I keep on reading, that Wendy Lee actually joined the cast by taking over for the voice of...
I'm listening. Robbie, you muted yourself again.
Sorry. No, my mic went out. She replaced the character of Kione. That was Mihoshi's partner in Tenchi Universe and Tenchi in Tokyo. And but when I brought that up to her, she said, "Oh, I thought I always voiced Kione." And I had to point out to her, like, no, actually, Sherry Lynn, the voice of Sasami, had done that. Oh, like she had no idea.
Hey, somebody mentioned Akira.
That was me. Yes.
I saw that movie in high school. I was taking a cartooning class I think it was freshman year in high school, and I hadn't seen anime in years. So imagine that being my reintroduction to anime on videotape. As a naive 14-year-old who was still in the Looney Tunes and Hey Arnold, and just watching that and being like, what is this? That's not only what at first I'm like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm like, the motorcycle chase is awesome, and then I'm like, what is that ending? That's where it ends. And it was a mind blow to me at that time. But I love that movie, actually. That was great.
I did too, because it doesn't. I mean, it has the Japanese flavor to it, but it transcends the Japanese culture and tells like a solid story that any culture can relate to.
I think that was part of a whole anime boom with a movie like that, Armitage and Ghost in the Shell. A lot of those movies were influenced by Blade Runner.
Do you remember Project Echo?
What?
Remember Project Echo?
Yes, I do. I remember that.
Yeah, Project Echo. That came over around the same time too. About that little girl that was quote unquote the daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman.
No way.
No.
Yeah, remember if you look up Project Echo, they hint at it because like I think it was like the first Project Echo movie. She's like getting up for school and she goes downstairs and her dad looks like Clark Kent and her mom looks like Diana Prince, but like she's sitting there knitting a sweater and stuff, and she has the Wonder Woman bracelets on.
Oh, Project A-Co. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Project Echo. It's called Project Echo.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that.
I may want to watch that. I'm going to look.
Yeah, she's supposed to be the quote unquote daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman because she can run real fast. She can't fly though. She's supposed to be invulnerable, and she has the Wonder Woman bracelets on at all times.
Yep.
Hold
on. I gotta say, I find it ironic when I find out some actors who did anime originally now they're doing other acting gigs. Like, with Tenchi Muyo, did you know the voice of Ryowoki? You know, the little rabbit cabbage thing. That's Debbie Derryberry, Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
Actually, the original voice of Kaneda from Akira.
Yeah.
Was the voice of Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Yeah, Cam Clark. Yeah.
Yes, Cam Clark.
Well,
Also, the voice of He-Man too, by the way.
Oh yeah. He took over, and although to be fair, you know who voiced him in the New Adventures of He-Man?
Who?
Gary Chalky. Optimus Primal.
Oh yes, Primal. Oh yes. He also appeared in Freddy vs. Jason, by the way. He was the sheriff in that movie.
Oh yeah, but I always say though, I love how he originally voiced Grounder in Adventures of the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, what do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing?
I loved it how he then took over the role for Robotnik in Sonic Underground. Very underrated show.
Yeah. Again, I just remember back to my Akira point. I just remember what am I watching since I mostly grow up on classic the classic stuff, the classic Hanna-Barbera and Looney Tunes. Oh, be very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits. Favorite Looney Tune, go.
Bugs.
It's mine's Daffy. My mother's favorite is Foghorn Leghorn.
Tasmania. Always got to be fast.
Oh, you want to know my favorite Taz line? What for you buried me in the cold, cold ground?
Yeah.
Old school Daffy Duck for me.
Who?
Old school Daffy Duck.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, define old school.
Like,
Oh, so crazy.
So you like the Bob Clampett Tex Avery Daffy and stuff?
oh yeah, Tex Avery's a mad genius. That guy.
Oh, I watched. I binge watched one day all the old MGM Tex Avery cartoons, including Droopy and Screwy Squirrel. I could not stop laughing. I was like, the guy his timing was impeccable. Hello, all you happy people.
You could clearly see the John Kricfalusi influence there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
John Kay, whenever he talks about Ren and Stimpy or talks about the old cartoons and hanging out with Ralph Bakshi or Bob Clampett, he goes big time into the detail of cartoons. He has like a mad encyclopedic knowledge near Jerry Beck level of stuff. I remember watching this because he goes into the story of how he watched. I remember watching Gruesome Twosome. I wasn't a big Tweety Bird and Sylvester fan, but when I saw Bob Clampett's Tweety Bird, I'm like, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. He's such a little, punk. Punk. And the two cats with the bulbous noses were my inspiration for Stimpy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
So, yeah, he always goes up. This is the Great Piggy Bank Robbery. It's a Bob Clampett Daffy Duck cartoon. This is so, yeah, he did commentary for that, for Porky's birthday, and one other Drafty Daffy. Oh, you're the little man from the draft board.
Oh, yeah. Well, now I wouldn't say that.
I love all the comedic different spins the directors had on each Looney Tune. Like it all started with Bosco. Okay, boss. And then you'd have like Porky. Everybody had the hand in Porky, and then Bugs and Daffy and Sylvester. And then each director had like a signature. Like Chuck Jones had Pepe Le Pew. Bob McKimson had the Tasmanian Devil and Foghorn Leghorn. And Fritz Freeling had Speedy Gonzales. Gonzalez and these guys, and so it was always interesting to see. And Chuck Jones also had the Coyote and Roadrunner, so it was always that. And just watching reruns of that, I was like, no matter where I turned, there was a Looney Tunes show or a movie.
Okay, guys, I hate to cut it off here, but I'm starting to get tired.
Well, to quote Porky Pig, that's all, folks.
So thank you guys.
No problem.
On that note, we should end.
Yep, I thank you guys.
It's been real fun.
What?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. It's been fun. I don't mind that. It has been a good time.
Yep, I say this did a lot better than my first stream. Thank you guys, and I also want to just double thank Rookie Critic and Black Angus for showing up. Wish Nerdette could have shown up. I guess she got busy at work.
Yeah.
So thank you all, and here's to next time.
Hey,
yeah. I'll see you guys again.
Yep.
Yeah, John Elzamat, it was nice meeting you.
Yep.
Nice meeting you guys too. It's been fun. I hope to do this again.
Absolutely. Likewise.
Yep.
Yeah,
Take care.
Yeah, I'll see. Yeah, Azamat, you and I should talk. We're always talking about discovering music. We should talk about rock and roll some more sometime.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just follow him on Twitter first, and then go from there.
Yeah, hit me on Twitter and YouTube, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. Because if you look at my Google playlist, like I got a lot of classic albums. We could always talk music.
Yeah, I'll DM you his Twitter handle.
Okay, well, let me go to Twitter real quick. Thanks a lot.
Yep. See ya.
All right, guys.
See you guys. Gotta have a good night.
Yep.